Hello, good morning. Welcome to Sewing Street on a Sunday morning. We are here live for the next 4 hours and the 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock show I'm going to be joined by Faye, so we're going to be doing a little bit of dressmaking as well. We've got new fabrics for you. We've got a great price on the air thread overlockers coming up later as well, and we'd love you to come and be part of the show this morning too. So if you want to come and say hello, you can drop us an email if you like, which is studio@sewingstreet.com. and or Facebook. Or you can send us a message on Facebook as well. I'm not sure if we're live there or not at the moment, but you can send us a message anyway if you go to the Facebook page, not the visitor page. Not, oh, what am I talking about this morning? Not the fans page. You need to go to our page and then put a post on there and just come and say hello. Want to know what you're up to this morning or the rest of the weekend. Right, have you got a cup of tea? Are we all ready to get started? I've got my coffee on the go this morning. Right. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so we've got an early bird special for you. One of my favourite brands of thread, because I do use others. This is Denim thread. This is our early bird. So basically we bring you a product at a reduced price. Could be anything. Today it's thread. And it will stay at this price until we sell out or for the rest of the day. So look what we've got. Now you're saving £2, not to be sniffed at. And this is the Sew All thread. So this is the one that I use most of all, whether I'm dressmaking or quilting or bag making. It's a really lovely strong thread. And strong threads, quality threads, are really, really important when you're sewing. Don't let your seams let you down. And I know I say it a lot, and I'm going to say it all over again. If you've spent a lot of money on your sewing machine, you spend a lot of time deciding what you're going to sew, you spend a lot of money on your fabrics, don't go for cheap thread. Your seams will be weaker, and the cheaper threads tend to use shorter strands of cotton, which can cause build-up of lint inside your sewing machine, which won't spoil it. It just means you've got to clear it out a little bit more. A way to tell whether your thread is strong enough for a seam or not is to literally pull it and see when it snaps. If you've got a thread that's very fibrous and very fluffy and you pull it and it snaps straight away, that's going to happen in the garment that you're wearing, which could be really embarrassing. So yeah, a nice strong thread. Denim are one of the leading brands of thread, German company obviously, and we put together a lovely selection of colours for you, but also you've got needles and you've got pins in here as well. So this would make a nice little starter gift if you know somebody that's starting to sew and you don't know what to get them for Christmas. I'm going to talk about Christmas a lot, don't care, it's coming up soon. And this could be one more gift out of the way, stocking filler so to speak. And again at £17.99 you've got a great price. I would happily pay £3 per spool, and in here you go, how many do you get in there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'd pay £3 each for them. It's Denim thread. Let alone your needles. The needles are universal, but they do come in different sizes. And you've got nice, are they glass head? So I didn't check. We've got the glass head pins there as well, which are fantastic because they don't melt if you catch them with your iron. So if you'd like to order, 0800 001 4433 is the phone number. Or you can go to our website, which is sewingstreet.com, and you can multi-order. So if you want one for yourself and one for a friend, you order as many as you like. Then, when you've paid that first postage of £3.95, that's it for the rest of the day. So don't, I know a lot of the time with shopping channels or websites particularly, you'll put something in your basket and then you're not going to check out because there might be something interesting coming up and you don't want to pay postage twice. But the thing is, when stocks start to get low, baskets get emptied, you get frustrated, you thought you'd got something and you hadn't. But the way that we work at Sewing Street, if you buy something and you pay that £3.95 postage, that's it for the whole of the rest of the day. So if you come back later and you think, I want an air thread overlocker, or I need some pins, doesn't matter how much it is, there is no extra postage to pay, which I think is a great deal. So have we got anybody here yet this morning? I'm on the website. What am I doing there? I want to be on Facebook. Have we got any messages yet? Are we live yet? Did that happen? Are we there? Oh, I can't see us if we are. Right. Oh, apparently the website's not working at the moment, but we're on it. Oh, Sheena, morning, Sheena. She says, morning, Debbie et al. Beautiful but chilly morning. It was dark when I got here this morning. It was quite fresh though. She's in South Somerset, so staying inside to watch the show and do some hand sew. Oh, lovely. Before walking the hairy alarm clock. Have a great morning. Morning, Kirsty. She's here as well. Very blowy in Northants this morning, sorting out a stash today. Oh, I listened to sewing podcasts on my way into work and the way back from work, and there was a couple of ladies talking about their stash, and one of the staff, I don't call it a stash, I call it my collection. I like that. So yeah, it's a collection now, Kirsty. That's what we're going to call it. Morning, Glennish. It's morning. She's got a coffee. Lovely. I've got my coffee too. Ange. Morning, Ange. Morning, Debbie. Windy and wet in Yarmouth today. Oh, Alan's with us. Morning, Alan. She is always making bags this week. Been up since 4:30. That's a lie-in. I'm up at 3. And then we're back to yesterday. Lovely. So it's really nice to hear from you. We have new fabrics coming up for you. Let me show you these. Oh, now then, so classy. We have a whole collection of beautiful fabrics, 100% cotton, 112 centimetres wide by the ½ metre. So let's take a look at these individually. It's nice to see flowers but going through to autumn winter, isn't it? So flowers but not summery flowers. But I love the design on these, aren't they classy? Now these are by the ½ metre, so that means that if you wanted a metre, if you wanted to make a blouse, if you wanted to, I don't know, make a tablecloth, order more than 1 unit and we'll send it out all in one big long lot. So £4.99 for ½ metre. If you wanted a metre of fabric, then just order 2 units and we'll send you the metre. So that's the blue and white autumn leaves, and it's got a really nice kind of depth to it with a black in the background. That's to make nice cushion. Shall I show you how big it is? Just not saying you don't know how big ½ metre is, you know, but 2 cushion cover fronts and maybe a plain black on the back. So you don't see the back of your cushion covers very often, do you? So that would work out at what, £2.50 per cushion front? No, that's a bit more affordable than going to the department stores, isn't it? And we've got some plain black fabric coming up in a bit as well. So this is, I'm standing up, look, I have to stand up to fold. Oh, I wasn't quite as good as whoever folded the previous ones, but there you go. This is pretty. And again, the two go together really well. I think sometimes, this is the autumn leaves with black, but sometimes with prints, they get a little bit busy when you put the two together. So for instance, I wouldn't put those 2 prints together, because they just lose each other. But this against the autumn leaves in blue, I think actually works really well. It doesn't argue, it doesn't fight back, they have a nice relationship. And again, that's £4.99. It's really nice quality as well. And isn't it nice to see something new, something you've never seen before? That's what we've got for you here. So that's that one. And then, oh, I love teals, don't you? We're calling it green, but I'd say teal. We've got little roses, but quite stylised, and again with a really deep background, so it gives you that depth. What would you make from this? Actually, make a nice trim, maybe. If you're making a blouse, maybe the cuffs and the collar and the placket you could make out of this one, and a nice crisp white shirt would look lovely, wouldn't it? But homewares, again, it's a quilting weight of cotton, so you're not going to be making a floaty dress out of it, but if you're garment making something quite structured like a blouse, or would you make a skirt? Yeah, if it was lined. But for homewares and quilting, absolutely perfect. Right, to give you a teaser of this one earlier on. So the smaller leaves on this one, great if you're making a small project. This is autumn leaves on cream, this one, with like a burgundy colour. Really, oh, and actually the detailing on this is incredible. Normally, very fine prints like that can be quite expensive. It adds to the cost. But this is just so very detailed. I can't believe it's only £4.90. That's such a good price. Okay. Now this one, again, I think autumn leaves on black. This one's called. I'd go for those two together, wouldn't you? But again, if you've got black fabric in your stash, if you've got cream, very dark blues, the nice thing about blues is they don't clash. So if you're going to put warm colours together, like pinks and reds and oranges, they can fight against each other, but blues don't clash. Beiges don't clash, creams, do they? You can mix any colour of those together. So you could, even though there's no teal in here, teal is not going to be offensive when you mix the two together. But I think very stylish. I don't know why I'm thinking it seems quite oriental, because there's nothing really oriental about it, but it's just that kind of feeling. This is teal blue. It's exactly the same colour as green, but you know, I didn't name them. So you've got skeleton outlines again of roses and leaves and sprigs. Now that would be, oh yeah, I'm thinking homewares again, table runners, maybe cushions for your dining room chair, little bolster cushion just to go in the middle of your back. That'd make it a bit more comfy, wouldn't it? And again, just £4.99. They're all £4.99, I may as well stop saying it. Moving on again, so this is the same print as the blue that we saw earlier on, but in the teal. Teal Autumn Blooms, this one. Very busy, isn't it? Smaller prints like this as well. If you're making smaller projects, maybe your English paper piecing and you've got very small pieces, I like things like this because you're not going to lose the design. If you're covering buttons to match what, you can actually cover the whole of a button with the flowers on there if you just fussy cut around them. So again, half a metre, £4.99. And then, I'm sitting down again, and then, but we do what we want on a Sunday. I love Sundays here, there's nobody in the office. I can have a cup of coffee, not in trouble, nobody to get in trouble with. Probably watching from home now and I get a call in a minute. There is a trapdoor behind the other counter for naughty presenters, so if I disappear downwards, you know why. Okay, on a black background again, this one. Love those dark colours, don't you? Autumn Leaves silhouette fabric, this one. So again, the silhouette of the roses and the flowers, but it just gives it a really three-dimensional look, I think, having the black in the background there. What are you going to make with it? What do you think when you see the fabric? Oh, I could use that for what? Are you going to make a quilt? Just a little one maybe? Or is it homewares? Going to do a little bit of home deck over the next few weeks? Maybe you're having a makeover, a little room makeover. Been making lampshades recently. These would make nice lampshades. And then maybe an antimacassar to go with it. How's that? So again, £4.99 is your price there. So let me just check you're all here, because you tend to message nice and early. Hi Diane. Diane's in bed. Sat in bed enjoying the show. Husband's gone fishing, so she's got a nice peaceful morning. Oh, Alan's making Christmas stockings in 2 different sizes and styles with battery LED. Oh, how posh, Alan, are you? Oh, and he's upholstered the kitchen chairs. Oh, that's lovely. What fabric have you used on there? They are gorgeous. Thank you for sharing those. Yeah, lovely to hear from you. We have issues. Just a few little issues with the website, but we are aware. So thank you for letting us know, but we are aware and we are working on it, so I do apologise about that. So probably the best way to place your order is to use the phone lines, 0800 001 4433. Oh yeah, oh I see. You can order online, but you can't see us online. So where are you watching? I think we've got Freeview and we've got Sky. Don't seem to have Facebook, don't seem to have YouTube. No, not yet. They're not working. It's not our fault. I'm blaming Facebook and YouTube myself. We're throwing everything out in the right direction. They're just not accepting it. Let's have a look what's coming up later on today. So at 8 o'clock, well, you've already seen them, haven't you? The fabulous fabrics. At 9 o'clock, So Different Colourblock sleeveless dress, and Faye's going to be with us as well. At 10 o'clock, Overlockers and Tools, and at 11 we've got bright top trousers with bright top and trousers with Faye again. And then we've got a repeat. So although we're not live at 12 o'clock, we do have some sewing still going on there. So we've got a nice jam-packed morning of lots of different stuff for you today. Right, we have some fabric bundles. Right, these are they. So we have hot chocolate fabric. That smells like hot chocolate. Oh, Sewing Street sells smelly fabric. We do. It smells of hot chocolate. It's a bit odd. Now, we were having a discussion this morning. You get all four, I'll just take you through. All four of these for £19.49. So there's 2 metres in total, half a metre of the chocolate, half a metre of the spot, half a metre of the red, and half a metre of the little fancies that you put on top of cupcakes. What are you going to make with smelly fabric? Because we were kind of thinking, it's quite subtle, so if you're going to wear it, someone's going to have to come right up to you to sniff it. Okay, so you're not going to be walking through the room and people go, oh, what's that smell of chocolate? Oh, it's always me. It is quite, you have to have a smell. So it's quite subtle, isn't it? But I don't know what you're going to make from it. You can't really, come and smell my shirt, it smells like chocolate. I'm going to make a mug rug from the Mug Rug and Hug books that we've got on the show for you in a bit. But yes, £19.49 if you want to go for that one. And again, just really quickly, let me open that up and show you. Nice warm colours though, aren't they? And I think particularly if you're making things for the kitchen or Christmas gifts. It's not overtly Christmassy. You've got little gingerbread men on there, which could be construed as Christmas. But it's more wintry and warm and snuggly. And I bet Diane in bed has got a nice mug like this and sitting there with a cream on top. And oh, so that's your first one. And then we've got a bundle of plains and spots. So we've got the coffee and the autumn fabric bundle, we're calling this one. And we've got the gold spots, the deep red, coral, I'd call that one. And then chocolate brown as well. We're calling it hot tomato. There you go. These are only £17.99. So again, you've got, so £17.99 for 2.5. That's good value. £19.99 for 2 metres, £17.99 for 2.5 metres. I'd be sticking that on my shopping list. £3.50 each. That works out. That's good value, isn't it? They're good fabrics to add to your collection. Not a stash, it's a collection. Oh, we have neutrals. Now these are very good collection builders. 3.5 metres. I like the look of these colours all together. I think they look really classy. I'd love to see a patchwork quilt made out of just these neutral colours. Wouldn't that be striking? £23.49 for 3.5 metres. So your classic black, there's cream, the elephant, like a silvery grey, a dark grey, an even darker grey, and then an ivory and a white. So all of those, again, you've got 3.5 metres in total. Don't they look lovely together? I'm trying to think how many pieces of fabric I could make into a bag. Because I've got the lining, I've got the flap. I could have the front of the bag in one colour and the gusset in another and then make the handle in another. Or, did you see that like chevron, I called it a humbug bag that I did for one of the magazines. I did a YouTube on it as well with just stripes of black and whites, and that would look really nice with black and white and grey and cream just swirled all the way around, didn't it? £23.49 for 3.5 metres there. Then we've still got issues. Paul Director's got issues. I don't know what issues they are, but got issues. These are the greens. And this time we have 5 half metres, so you've got 2.5 metres in total. For £17 the prices are getting lower, aren't they? What we're playing at. £17.99 for all of those. So it looks like a seascape to me. Or that's the countryside. And then you've got the sky. So we've got jade, emerald, mint. Oh no, that'll be mint. We've got the bright green, the lime green, forest greens. Again, don't they go really well together? £17.49 your price there. That's £3.50 each again. That's the kind of price you pay for a fat quarter, isn't it? And we have a yellow bundle. Happy colours, yellow, aren't they? I get asked for yellows more than any other colour of fabric at the moment. They're really, really popular. They're bright and bold and cheery, and it reminds me of summer sunshine and golden sands. And saw the sunshine, haven't seen the golden sands. 2 metres, no, 2 metres for £12.99. That's £3.25 each. Ridiculous. It all happens on a Sunday, you see. Yeah, someone's going to be in trouble on Monday morning when they get back. Now I'm going to make a pocket rug. This isn't a rug to go in your pocket. It's a mug rug with a pocket. This one is your Love to Sew mug rugs. Love to Sew is a range of books that Search Press bring us that have very simple instructions for their projects. So these are ideal. Oh, that should be £7.99. Oh, so much in trouble. Very simple projects that are ideal for beginners. So stocking filler kind of price. Again, if you're thinking of Chris, oh, it is £7.99. I bet the authors are going to be over the moon. But the things that are achievable and things that are quite quick. And even as a beginner, the things that you may learn in here as well, like in what is applique and adding binding and things like this. So we've got, let me have a quick flick through. Those are all of the projects briefly. So you've got your techniques and tools as you would expect to find in a good sewing project book. So there's all of your stitches. And then we move straight into the projects. Carpet of Flowers, Prime Time. That's like that's, oh, what was it called? I can't remember. The Yves Saint Laurent dress that was popular in the 1960s. A Treat for the Eyes. Monkeying Around. You'll have your templates in the back there as well. All in the name. So we've got personalised mug rugs. Tea for what? Tea for one sounds a bit sad, doesn't it? There's your pocket rug that I'm going to have a go. We've got a mug cosy as well. So mug hugs and mug rugs. Bit of flower power. Pretty in Pink. Oh, that's a nice one with a house. That's a little bit different. Wouldn't want to put my coffee on there. Oh, hand stitched hexagon. So again, you've got lots of different techniques as well that you're going to be picking up here. Cathedral windows is another technique. Oh, machine stitched down as well. So that's going to be an easy way or a quicker way of making it than hand sewing, isn't it? So creative break, out of line. That's a pretty one. Oh, and Christmas. We've got Christmas here on Tuesday. So I should be with you on Tuesday. 5 hours we're here for on Tuesday. I don't know how I got away with that one. So again, £7.99 is your price. And how many have you got? How many have you got in there? Let me have a quick look. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 projects you've got there all together for £7.99. It's good value, isn't it? So you could, I was going to do that, wasn't I? 31p per project. You can have chocolate aromaed, a mug rug with your hot chocolate drink maybe. That would be a nice idea. Not sure if it stays there, this aroma when it's washed. Or if everything else in the wash is going to be smelling of chocolate. A bit like when you put the red sock in the washing machine. Just, what does that smell of chocolate? You've been eating chocolate? Okay, £7.99 for the book if you'd like to order. 0800 001 4433. Have a look, all your templates, look. Have a look on the website for anything else that... In fact, when you go on the website, you can have a look at what's coming up over the next 4 or 5 hours as well. Including, they've done it again. We had the Elna Air Thread Overlocker a couple of weeks ago. They got the price wrong. They've done it again. Got the price wrong. It's like £250 less than it should be. So I'm not here to question. Yeah, they can do what they like. Should we do a bit of sewing? Should we do that? Okay. Right. we are getting a lot of messages from people saying that you can't get us on YouTube and you can't get us on Facebook. We are aware of that, and we are trying to fix it. We're not very successful at the moment because it's Sunday morning and nobody's here, and whoever should be looking into this, is his birthday yesterday? Can't wake him up. Unless it maybe just hasn't got home yet. I'm going to make the pocket rug. So I need to cut some strips first of all, don't I? I hadn't seen it before today, so I'm going to start right from scratch. So we need, cutting out light brown fabric for the checkerboard pattern, 23.5, 2 strips of that. This may not be exactly to size. Shall we use this one? So for the checkerboard I have 2-inch strips. 2-inch strips along the edge, and then we'll just wing it. It's a nice idea with a pocket in it though, I like that, and that you could actually roll it up, couldn't you, and have your own travel sized. Right, let's have this selvage off the end. First of all, we don't work with that. If you need any other tools, by the way, have a look on the website. So if you haven't got a rotary cutter, ruler and mat, we've got a few on the website, so have a look. Right, so that's off there. Then it's asking for 2-inch strips, so let's cut those into 2-inch strips. And do as we're told. So that's true. In fact, I've got a small mat and a small ruler, so let's just fold that to make it a little bit easier. There we go. All of the measurements and everything are in the book, so I'm not being entirely accurate with this. So I'll have a couple of strips of those, and then shall we do the checkerboard with a red? That would go really well, I think. So let's cut another couple of strips out of the red. Oh, there's rather a lot of fabric there. And I'll need those selvages off there as well. And then I think we sew these together and then we cut them up. So we'll have selvages off. Off with your selvages. And I'll just sew 2 of these together because I think the rest is for the border. Okay. So we'll do right sides together. I seem to have one very long, one very short, but there we go. There we go. And I'm using the little 560, which is a 100 stitch sewing machine with a 2-year warranty. Nice compact machine, but very quiet and very smooth. I had the 550 on the other day, so the difference is it's not just that this one's got twice the amount of stitches, it's also got an automatic needle down up facility. This stops with the needle in the down position all the time, and it's got a thread snipper on here as well, like that. Right, let's chop that off there. So let's give that a bit of a press before we chop it up again. We must get a new one of these mats. This one's filthy. And I think we'll do the seam open on this one. Does she say what we're doing? No. Oh, we're working on the website now. You might be able to see us on there soon. Just want to wait for that heat to heat up a little bit. So we do that, and then we do that, and then figure 2. And then it's the pocket, and then it's the strips. Okay? You'll be a lot more accurate with your measurements. Oh, morning, Shirley. Oh, just morning. Morning, Shirley. Nice to have you with us this morning. Just need to sew the end. Don't need to say anything else, do you? It's just morning. If you've got any questions, by the way, come and ask them. I think we'll do a little bit on bias binding in the 10 o'clock show as well. We've got the overlockers, but we've also got some brand new bias binding makers, so I thought we might do a little bit of binding. So we can do some joining, and we can do some making, and we can do some applying. So if you want anything demonstrating, then let me know. So really flexible. I'll do what you like. Okay, so that's that. Then we'll need to chop it up. So into 2-inch bits again. Could have sewn more together actually, shouldn't I? Right. We'll have a few of those, and then we're going to rearrange them, so we're going to do that. I think we'll have 8 of those. Two, 3, 4, and then we'll sew those together. So just match those little seams. Could have used that technique with quilters grid, couldn't I? That's 1, another 2 here. These are nice quick projects as well though, if you are maybe having a hand sewn Christmas this year. What are you making if you are? Bags are always useful, aren't they? Whether it's a bag for life or a little tote or a cosmetic bag. And I kind of like the idea of making bags for Christmas because that's part of the actual gift as well, isn't it? There we go. Is that all of them? Right, and we'll snip these up. So I'll give those a press. I think I've got enough. We'll soon see, won't we? One, 2. Yeah, that'd be nice. And then like that. Oh, I'll let you know what the early bird is in just a second as well. Been looking for us this morning, haven't you? We're not there, we're here. So I'll give you a reminder in just a sec. We're everywhere apart from Facebook Live, apparently. Right, then we'll sew those together like so. And then we'll sew the 2 pieces together. Nice thing with little projects like this as well, it doesn't matter if it's not absolutely perfect. And if you are a perfectionist and things go a little bit wobbly, you're not wasting very much if you need to just do a few more strips, are you? There we go. Another quick press. And that one. And then those 2 together. And I think that's enough for that bit. Again, just try and match those seams. Not too fussed if they don't, to be honest. Because my coffee's going to go on top of here. And there, so I'm not worried about pinning and everything. Do that at home when you've got more time. There we are. I might you that way. Right, so that's that bit. Oh, you're onto that bias binding maker. Oh, we've got bias binding and the bias binding makers as well. So if you go to the website and have a look under the 10 o'clock show, you'll see the overlockers there and everything, and then the new bias binders. We've got 1/2 inch and 1 inch ones. But again, I'll show you how to use those if you've never used one before later on. Right, so let's do the pocket. So I think we'll have a chocolate pocket. What are you going to make out of chocolate smelling fabric? Why would you? Anyway. Yes, send us a message. What's the ideal project for chocolate flavoured fabric? Right, we'll have that about that. No, we'll have it that big. And this hour's going a little bit too quickly, isn't it? So I'll need that. Alan's birthday soon. Can I tell him how old you'll be, Alan? Alan's going to be 39. And it doesn't look a day over 25. And he's going ghost hunting for his birthday. Ooh. Right, so that's the fold over bit for the pocket. And then I've got a bit down the back as well. Should I do that in red? I'm going to do that in red so it stands out. It's not a plain red this either, it's kind of got this mottled, it's got a cloudy personality. You won't be quite as wasteful at home. So how wide's that? That's that wide. I will cut those down into shorter strips to do the binding. And of course the backing. I think we need a new blade in there. Morning, Susan. Oh, she's in South Wales. It's a lovely sunny start to the day. Lovely. I don't mind the cold and I don't mind the wind. My worst one is sleet. Oh, hate that. I don't mind the snow as long as it's not snowing. I like to look at it, don't like to be in it. Jane. Oh, Jane's going to use bonfire fabric. Bonfire fabric? Chocolate fabric for bonfire night mug warmers. That's a nice idea. Right, so that's there. Okay, so I've got one folded over piece of fabric for the pocket. And let's sew those till in one go, right sides together to that bit. Then we'll trim it down. And have we got binding around it? Oh no. I could put some binding around here in the 10 o'clock show, couldn't I? Might do that. So that goes down there. So. Lovely. And then it's got a border around it. So I'm going to trim this back down now. I'll press that in a minute. So that it's square. Because things tend to move a little bit, don't they? And that side, right way around with the ruler, Deborah. So that's nice and square there. And down this side. And that one. Right, are we live now? Coffee's going cold and everything. So we should be live on YouTube now, I'm hearing. Oh, YouTube has been live for a bit. Oh, we're live on Facebook too. Oh, lovely. So now you can, oh, everybody's here, look. Yeah, Glenys and Carol and Pauline. Morning, Pauline. Morning, Joan. Morning, Viv. Just tuned in. What are we making? I'm making a smelly chocolate. The fabric smells of chocolate, so I'm making a chocolate flavoured mug rug. So if you want to leave a message now on Facebook, go leave one underneath the video, and I can see them as they pop up then, which is quite nice. I don't want to share you with friends, thank you. No. So again, if you've got any questions, got any comments, want to say hello, then do come and join us. So today we have Liam producing, we have Paul directing. You're getting a whoop whoop from the gallery. We've got me and we've got Faye, and that's your lot for today. But what more do you need on a Sunday morning? Okay. Yeah, the rest of the staff, we don't really mention them, to be honest, you know, for the amount of work that they do. We have, that's right, Clive, who's normally on cameras, is actually parking my helicopter at the moment, so he'll be with us later on. Bit of a rush this morning, and I missed the helipad as I came in, so so he's going to, yeah, it's a bit windy this morning, so he's reparking the copter for me. And then we've got Penelope, who is in charge of massages and beauty procedures. So she's getting ready to give me a massage when we come off air, you know, like we normally do. The whole catering department are here as well, because when we come off air, only on a Sunday, but when we come off air at 12 o'clock, we like to have a champagne buffet, and it's all got to be fresh. So they're preparing that in our kitchen at the moment. I'm just putting some borders on, by the way. I'm just carrying on without even telling you what I'm doing. Oh, Alan is going to make fabric gift boxes for chocolate. Do you cook, Alan, as well? Do you make chocolate? Alan does everything. Oh, I've got to cut in that. Oh, that wasn't very clever. Need to unpick that. I've got a little cut in the fabric, and that's going to show up, so I need to cut another piece for that. There we go. Who else have we got? Oh, hi, Kathy. Dark and rainy British Columbia. Oh, you're in Canada. What time is it in Canada this morning? Are you 5 hours behind over there? Come and let me know. Right, now you can actually see us. Just bear with, because I need to show you what the early bird is, because you would have missed that this morning. We've got lots of fabric bundles, so you can have a look at those on the website. This is your early bird you were asking about. It's Gutermann thread, and we have pins, and we've got needles in there as well, sewing machine needles, and you've got a £2 saving. This is just £17.99. Look at all the colours that you've got there as well, and Gutermann thread, using the long strands of thread, a really strong thread. This is the sew wool, so this is the one that I use most of all. There's so many different types of thread out there, a little bit like needles and a little bit like wadding, but this is the one that I go to all the time. So if I'm bag making, if I'm quilting, if I'm dressmaking, it's a really strong thread that is suitable for all of those different genres of sewing. If you know anybody who sews, they will not be disappointed to receive Gutermann thread as a gift. Oh, morning Claire, morning Kathy. Morning, Jean, sunny in Birmingham. Morning, Lindsay. Cup of tea in bed. Another one in bed. Lindsay's in bed watching the show. Hubby's making breakfast. Lovely. Cloudy in Wimbledon. In Wimbledon? In Wimbledon. Good morning, Debbie from a dull Lincolnshire. Oh, Shelley. A dull Lincolnshire. That's where I'm heading back to today. Never mind. So again, in here, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 12 threads. You've got your basics. They're only £1.50 each. I'd pay double that. I would happily pay double that for Gutermann thread, and normally do. So we've got the basics, the black and the white, and then lovely rainbow colours as well. Look at the needles there. That's an oversized pack of needles as well. These are your sewing machine needles, universal needles, so again suitable for most of your projects, in different sizes as well. And then you've even got a packet of glass head pins too. So it's a complete little sewing ensemble for you, and you're always going to break needles. I don't know how, but I tend to lose a lot of pins, and thread, you can never have enough thread. So if you're stocking up for yourself, or if you're buying gifts, and you can go for a couple if you want to as well, if you think actually that's really good value. £1.50 for a reel of thread, I think is amazing value for Gutermann, then stock up as many of those as you like. So that's your early bird. I'll keep reminding you while we've got stock, because it is such a great deal. So have we got more of you? What are you doing in bed this morning? Sam's here. Hello, Sam. Nick is in bed. What was it? It's 10 to 9, for goodness sake. Sylvie, morning. She's in Hereford, a bit chilly this morning. Morning, Tina. Love Gutermann on a Sunday morning. Off in bed, watching the show, and I are funny. Morning, Lynn. Sorry, the messages disappeared. You're reading them, so I'm kind of speed reading. Morning, Lynn. She's making a cushion with the moving up block. Lovely. Alan loves Gutermann thread. Kathy says 8 hours. Oh, you're 8 hours behind in Canada. So it's the middle of the night for you, isn't it? Unless you're just stopping up late partying. Morning, Bonnie. Wet and windy in Norfolk. Eleanor says, what TV station is this on? This is on Freeview 74 and Sky 670 is what we're on in the UK, if you're in the UK. We're not on any stations in other countries at the moment. But we are on YouTube, so you can... Oh, I did that the wrong way around. That serves me right for talking and reading as I'm sewing, doesn't it? I didn't do my right sides together. We are rapidly running out of time in this hour. I'm going to be back again. Well, I'm back again in a bit. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm knocking off after this one. I'm going home. Liam and Paul can come and present. So my helicopter's revving up as we're speaking. I'll be back at 11 o'clock. No, I won't. 10 o'clock with the bias binding maker. So I'll repick this up, and we'll make some bias binding to go round it. So I'm deviating from the instructions in the book, but that's what books are for, aren't they? About inspiration. Lots of you already are going for the bias binding makers. Makes your life so much easier. If you've not used one, I'll show you how to use them at 10 o'clock this morning. Oh, we'll do that again. And then the next hour we're going to be dressmaking. I'll show you the dress in a second. Morning, Zaz. Oh, morning. Morning, Karen from sunny Kirkham. Leslie from a very sunny Hensford. Loving the demo, thank you. Morning, Dawn. Love the fabric chocolate. And morning, Susan. Never missed anybody. Don't like to miss you. Susan's cuddled up on the sofa with a handmade quilt. Oh, lovely. We're having a cosy Sunday morning this Sunday, aren't we? It's nice. I've got heels on today, so I'm not having a comfortable day. Liam's got is it Liam or Paul? Because you tend to sound the same sometimes. Liam's got an uncomfortable chair. He's going to have a funny walk when he comes off her. It's funny, he had a funny walk when he came on us, isn't it? Right, so that's the right sides together. It's a nice little idea, this, though, isn't it? Because you've got a pocket to put your knives and forks in, which I think is a nice idea. Morning, Bernadette. was that on Facebook? She said, oh, it was on the YouTube live. Sorry, I haven't got the YouTube live there. She says, good morning, Debbie and men. They are very manly men, the two men I'm working with today, I have to say. Morning, Linda. Morning, Annette. Morning, Lynn. And morning, Sue. Am I carrying on? Should we just keep doing it? 7 minutes, I may as well. So that can go there. That can go there. These are from a fabric bundle. We do have some of the chocolate flavoured fabrics. I don't know why. Are available on their own in different colours as well. Quite novel, isn't it? Maybe, do you know what would be quite nice? A teddy bear. Something for the kids to cuddle with, because chocolate's quite a soothing kind of smell, isn't it? Mind you, isn't chocolate supposed to be an aphrodisiac? Be careful who you're making it for. We could start a whole new trend of smelly fabric, couldn't we? So if you could create an aroma for your fabric, what would it be? Cheese? Oh, Stilton flavoured fabric? I'd kind of like floral. I'd go for a floral fabric, roses maybe. Or, oh, I love the smell of lilies. Lily scented fabric. Now I'd use that. Or just something really fresh. So, I'm not a fan of lavender. I like chamomile. I like orange. I like citrus smells. That's looking all right, isn't it? So that's my pocket. So that's where my knife and fork can go. It actually looks quite Christmassy, doesn't it? I'll trim it down in a bit because again it's moved a little bit. I'm going to put some fusible fleece on the, oh, that's a little bit, I'll use that. Fusible fleece on the back. And I'll just press that. There we go. Let me have a look who's here while I'm just doing that. Oh gosh, Sylvie, that is my favourite smell ever. Puppies. Oh yes. No, yes. Puppy pillowcases. Oh, amazing. Hi Hilary, bright and beautiful in Barnoldswick. I don't know where that is. Oh, hi Jane in the Netherlands. I've not heard from you for a while. You're right. Jane can watch us online, I think, but you can't watch us. You can watch us on Facebook and YouTube, but you can't get us on TV, can you? Because you're in Holland. Susan's making 2 book cushions. Lynn's, yes, actually, Boris's rule does apply to the whole household, I'm afraid. However, I think that can be at your discretion. I'll ask him, actually, next time I speak to him, exactly who does this apply to. It should be watching this morning. I'll let him know. Boris's rule, by the way, if you weren't aware, if you're new to us, Saturday and Sunday mornings, and occasionally Monday, Tuesdays, but every Saturday, Sunday morning, Boris says that there is a 2-metre distancing rule from yourself and household appliances. That includes lawnmowers, washing machines, vacuum cleaners. It does not include coffee makers and kettles. You're allowed to do that. You can't load the dishwasher. You can't do the washing machine, and no dusting. Dusting does count as a household appliance. So yes, if you are doing any housework this morning, just be aware you are breaking the rules. Okay. But I'm not sure about her. This is my Uncle Boris, by the way. It's not the Prime Minister or anything daft like that. It's, yeah. So you're not going to be fined or anything. I'll just make you stand in the naughty corner. Right. Okay, so that's that bit. Then I'll need some backing, and I'm going to use chocolate again for the backing. Oh, I was going to show you individually, wasn't I? Because we've got different coloured chocolate fabrics for you. So we've got the brown on its own. Which is this one? That's £5.99, and that's for half a metre. Then we've got like a pale pink background on this one. That's quite pretty, isn't it? Fondant fancies, I'm thinking, with this one. Again, it's not a strong smell of chocolate, it's a very gentle whiff. It's not going to be overpowering. Again, at £5.99 for half a metre. It's got the little gingerbread men and mugs of chocolate with cream on top, and marshmallows and flakes. And I'm not a fan of things like that. And finally there is the plum. That's a nice colour, isn't it? Little hearts in the background as well. So it's quite pretty. Smelly chocolate or not, it is a rather nice fabric, isn't it? Susan's making book cushions. Oh, strawberry smelling fabric Leslie would like. Oh, Jane's in semi-lockdown. Semi-lockdown. Does that mean you have to shut yourself away for half a day? Funny rules, aren't they, they come up with these days. Oh, morning, Jerry. First time watching in Havant. So that's a nice area, isn't it? Morning, Tim from Leicestershire, and Kirsty. Smell of, smells raspberries, fresh herbs, and citrus. not necessarily all together. I didn't make my jacket, Pauline. I do have a few of this style, I kind of like them. Hilary, oh, you're in Yorkshire, on the Yorkshire-Lancashire border, I didn't know that. Chocolate scented, oh yes, chocolate scented face masks. Brilliant. So, yeah, Jenny, smelly fabric, it smells of chocolate. I'm thinking it was an accident in the factory. I think somebody was eating a bar of chocolate when they shouldn't have been. So as it went through the dyeing process, they went, oh, we'd better make it a selling point. A bit like, you know, Fiskars scissors with their orange handles normally. That was an accident. They should have been red or black. I think red or black or green, but whoever was in the factory when they were manufacturing them emptied out some orange dye before they got to the red and the green, and they ended up being orange. There you go. Pauline loves old Jane. And my favourite smell is lavender. Mary says, not been watching before, North Scotland. Well, come along, Mary. And Adriana. So this is what happens on a Sunday morning. We end up just chatting and not doing my job. New moan. Hey. Knocking that over. Right, so let me just cut this out because I need to put some binding around this later on. Oh, that just fits nicely. So I like it when things fit like this, so you're not wasting too much fabric. So that's going there. I think we'll have, I better put some spotty binding around there because I'm using so much fabric. No, we'll have that one. We'll do that in the 10 o'clock show when I've got the bias binding makers. The only other thing I'm going to do here really quickly is to give it a blast of 505. Because your 8640 is fusible on one side but not on the other. So I'm just going to do this over here so I'm away from the sewing machine. So I'm just spraying on the back of the fleece website and plonk that on there, and then we'll be ready to go for 10 o'clock. Now we're going to be dressmaking in the next hour, so Faye's with us. Do you want to have a look what we're going to be doing? Or what Faye's going to be doing, I should say. There you go. Now, I've seen this before in the denim, and I've seen it before in linen, but I've not seen it in the striped fabric, and I think that's really lovely. And it's great. It's not the greatest fabric for TV, because it sends your eyes a bit funny. But I think that gives a really nice casual look. But that's the kind of dress that you can make from a very smart fabric and give it a completely different look. We'll put some fabric bundles together for you as well, so that's coming up in the next hour. I better clear up my mess, hadn't I, for when Faye gets here. Oh. The project, remember, is from the book Mug Rugs. I have adapted it slightly because this one doesn't have binding, it's bagged out, so I wanted to make it a little bit different. So there's 22 projects in there for £7.99. The Love to Sew books by Search Press are very simple. They're simply explained simple projects. And not too many instructions, not too many pictures, not confusing at all. So although I'm saying this would be a great book for a beginner sewer, because you're going to be learning techniques as well, it's also a nice one of those nice projects if you just want something quick to do. You know, I've got half an hour to spend, or, you know, I've only got the afternoon free, I can't make a quilt or a dress. Or it's inspiration as well, isn't it? So I love those monkeys. And you're getting the templates, there they are, look. So you could use those in other things. That may be a applique on the front of a child's t-shirt, or around a bedroom. You could cut those out of paper and decorate a bedroom with them, couldn't you? You've got the templates, you can do what you like with them. Or just need to give you a reminder of the monochrome bundle as well. I want to say such a mess here. Apologising to Faye if you're listening to me. 3.5 metres of neutral fabrics here for £23.49. Really good basic colours, and I'm thinking to build up your collection because we're not calling it a stash anymore, but they work really well together. That I think would make a really stunning patchwork quilt. Wendy, Wendy's a household appliance social distancing. That's very commendable, Wendy, but she does it every day. Janet, have this. Oh, Janet's got the book, thank you. Pauline, how do we get items on split pay? We're not on split pay, unless they've done it without saying. No, not yet, but we're working on it. Morag husband wants to know if it stays chocolate smelling after washing. Wouldn't have thought so, to be honest. Don't know, I haven't washed it, but I wouldn't have thought so. Have you tried laminating your own fabric? No, I haven't actually, but we've got Lamifix on the website. I did have a go at laminating a bag on Friday and it worked really well actually. Lydia missed me yesterday, not to worry. I'll be there next week. Hi Sylvie, morning Sophia. Sorry, socialising when I should be at work. Okay, I need to tidy up a little bit because Faye's coming up to do some dressmaking in the next show. So go and make yourself another cup of tea and I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw, and as a professional sewer, I really know how important it is to use a high quality thread. Well, you think about it. You spend a lot of money on your sewing machine, you'll spend a lot of money on fabric, and you'll spend a lot of time sewing. So why let your thread let you down? I know a lot of our designers and customers prefer to use Aurifil thread. Now this is a family business. It was established in 1983 and they're based just outside Milan in Italy. They produce superior quality threads for domestic and professional sewers alike, and they've achieved worldwide success with quilters, sewers, embroiderers and textile artists who all appreciate the versatility and the strength of these threads. It's all made from Egyptian cotton, which is grown just at the side of the River Nile, and Aurifil only use the long staple threads, which gives their thread that strength. Each one of these threads goes through 15 steps before it even gets onto a spool and then comes to you to use in your sewing projects. Now at Sewing Street, we've collaborated with Aurifil and we've brought you two collections of threads. So we have the Quilters Collection, and these are exclusive to Sewing Street. We've done a lot of research with quilters, and these are the colours that you prefer to use. So we put a whole collection together for you. The second collection is the Essential Collection. So this is for the homemakers, for the bag makers, for the craft sewers, for the dressmakers, and again these have been proven to be the most popular colours that you're going to use. So if you want your projects to last longer and your seams to be stronger, invest in some quality thread.
Hello, I'm Kerry from Living in Loveliness and I'm delighted to be part of the Sewing Street team. I'm based in Wolverhampton and I absolutely love working with fabulous fabrics. In particular, I love working with fat quarters and showing you how to get the most from your scraps. I love bringing communities of sewists together and encouraging people to sew for greater causes. Most recently, we have been sewing for our NHS and key workers. I look forward to bringing you hints, tips and techniques. I'll see you soon.
Did you know that if you shop with Sewing Street, you're only going to pay one lot of postage all day? That's one payment of £3.95, no matter what you're buying. And you can check out as many times as you like without having to pay another delivery charge. So shop online at www.sewingstreet.com, or you can order via our call centre, which is 0800 001 4433.
Hi everyone, my name's Faye and I'm going to be joining the Sewing Street team as one of their guest designers. I work as a professional dressmaker. You can see here you've caught me in the middle of making a petticoat for a wedding dress here in my workroom in North Yorkshire. I started off in fashion design, studied that at college, and then I actually made the move into costume. So I've actually spent several years making costumes, quite high-end costumes for both television and theatre. So hopefully with that professional experience I'm best placed to give you some advice on how to get the best results with your sewing and to show you some really interesting techniques. So it would be great if you could join us for that if you're an avid dressmaker, and I look forward to seeing you.
Hi there and welcome back again. We're going to be doing a little bit of dressmaking with Faye in just a second, but I need to take you through what we've got for you in the show first of all. I'll give you the reminder of the early bird in just a second, but 40% of the stock sold out of that one. And I just need to answer Karen. Karen says that the chocolate smell in that fabric lasts for 10 washes. Who knew? And she's asking, does Boris allow the sewing machine on a Sunday as well as the coffee maker? He does. I do know that specifically because I asked him. And he said that a sewing machine isn't deemed as a household appliance. That's nothing to do with me, it's just what Boris says. This is the pattern that Faye's going to be working with. So it's designed by Laura from So Different. She always has a kind of a little bit of a quirk, something a little bit different about the dresses. There's always something in her patterns that looks a little bit more complicated than it actually is. This is so beautiful. It can be sleeves or sleeveless, that's entirely up to you. And it's nice in the Colourblock colours. You can obviously use plains if you wanted to. Size-wise, we're going from a size 8 to a size 26. On your bust, which is the measurement that you're going to take note of, that is 84 to 128 centimetres, or 33 to 50¼ inches. So don't go by your dress size, go by your measurements. If you have a look on our website on sewingstreet.com, it should show you the back of the pattern. So you'll see your fabric requirements and all of your measurements on there as well. So, but if you've got any questions, if you've got, if you want to know a specific size, then come and let us know. So that's the Colourblock dress. Really simple to understand patterns as well, and they're paper, they're not tissue, which is more long lasting. It's got a 2 out of 5-star difficulty rating with this one, so it's not difficult, and Laura reckons it's going to take you about 4 hours to make it. So what are you going to make it out of? Well, the dress behind me has been made out of the stripe. So you've got 3 cotton stripes. They're quite nautical stripes, aren't they, really? There's 3.5 metres in total here, and that is plenty enough to make the largest size. And it's a cotton poplin, so it's a really nice, smooth fabric, got a lovely drape to it, for £27.99. So there's 1.5 metres of the wide stripe, and then 1 metre of the navy stripe, and 1 metre of the pale blue stripe, all for £27.99. Now you don't have to make the dress out of this. It doesn't come with the pattern. So if you wanted to make anything else, shirts, blouses, dresses, children's wear, homewares even, it is a poplin, so it's got a drape to it. So if you're making cushion covers and the like, you may want to put a backing on it, some kind of interfacing. But it looks lovely with the dress, doesn't it? It's really striking. And I'm imagining with a nice thick pair of tights and a pair of boots for winter time. So that's 3.5 metres at £27.99. We've got spotty ones. Look at these. 3.5 metres again of spots. This is what Faye is going to be demonstrating with, for your £33.99. So 2 metres, 1 metre, 1 metre. So the 1.5 metres is in the silver with the white. But again, it's just a great price of fabric, and you don't have to just make that dress out of it. You can do what you like with it. If you're making the larger size, a smaller size, sorry, you're probably going to have some left over as well, so you can make maybe a matching purse to go with your frock. And then we've got a denim bundle. I'm sure we've seen this dress made out of the 3 denims before. 1.5. 1 and 1 of 3 different colours of denim. So if you are the bag maker, I'll be able to make some amazing bags with these. It's nice to have the different colours of denim together, isn't it? Love working with denim, really hard wearing and durable. So this is actually heavy. You've got 1.5 metres of the dark, 1 metre of the medium, and 1 metre of the light for your £33.99. Good price for denim, even if you're not dressmaking, isn't it? It's a good price for for denim. If you want any of these fabrics by the half metre, you say, well, I only want that big blue and white stripe, or I want to mix the stripe with a spot because I think that looks quite cute. Then these are available on the website by the, looks good, doesn't it? By the half metre. So have a look on sewingstreet.com and search for them there, and you will be able to find those by the half metre. Do you want a quick reminder of this early bird while we've still got it? Almost half the stock sold out now. You've got 10 spools of Gutermann thread for £17.99, including a rather large packet of universal needles in different sizes and a decent packet of pins there as well. These work out at £1.50 each, and these two are free. I'd pay double that happily, and do. I love Gutermann thread, it's my favourite. I like a good quality thread, and that's what Gutermann are famed for. And nice colours there as well, very usable colours. So stock up on those. You're only saving a couple of pounds, but you know, if you order 2, you're saving 4. It's not going to go off. So stock up as many as you like. Can you imagine? Oh, that thread, it's gone off. I've had it for months, but I've had some new. Right, so that's your early bird, but remember, almost half the stock has now sold out of that one. Right, I think it's about time we introduced you to Faye and did some demonstrations. If you've got any questions, remember, come and ask them. You can email us, or you can go onto Facebook now, we're live there as well. So welcome to Sewing Street in our new studio.
I know, it's my first time here. It's amazing. It's so big. I've got so much room.
We can run around.
I know, yeah, it's great. Brilliant. Very fancy. Yeah, I'm loving all the decoration. Looks lovely. Yeah, really nice, much improved.
Before we start on the dress, tell us a little bit about yourself and your sewing background.
Yeah, my background is I worked in costume making, theatre costume and costumes for television and theatre, also freelance things as well. I've also worked on film sets, monitoring the continuity and getting people in and out of costumes and things. So yeah, that's my background. That's how I got into. So well, initially I studied fashion design actually, and then after that, well, when I was studying there was also a costume course running alongside it, and I was kind of jealous of the stuff they were making. It just looked so much more exciting. And I thought, I should have done costume. So after I did the fashion, I enrolled on a specialist costume course, which was it was a fabulous course. It was, I think it was 15 weeks of pure costume making, no theory, nothing, just purely costume making. Wow. And it was amazing. And
so is it the period costumes?
Period costume, yeah. So I left that, and my skills improved so much when I was there, and I left feeling like I could do anything basically, and I got work straight away from that, and just gone on from there really. And now I'm kind of in the world of craft, which I never expected, but yeah, it's funny where it takes you. But yeah, I'm loving getting into the whole craft scene now. So
with the period costumes, they have to be authentic, don't they?
Oh yeah. So if you think about it, particularly television, because I worked on a show called Outlander. And especially if it's television, you know, you think about it where, you know, you're seeing this, you know, real close-up, so everything has to be authentic, everything has to be hand-finished, and it can be quite a laborious task to get them right and make them historically accurate as well, because there's lots of people watching it who'll think, oh, that's not right, that's not right. So, and also learning all the traditional historic techniques as well to do it. And I think that's what I love about sewing, is I wanted to become a really good sewer, and I think costume, that's why it led me to costume rather than fashion. Fashion's great, but I wanted to sew really well, and I got that in costume. So that was why I went that route and loved it.
I find it fascinating. I was in an episode of Heartbeat.
Oh wow!
And they were so authentic 1960s. My underwear was 1960s. You couldn't see it, obviously. It wasn't one of those kind of heartbeats.
Well, this is it. It's a silhouette you're creating as well. So yeah, we'd be making corsets and things and getting those. First thing in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, tying people into corsets to make sure it was authentic.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, things like Edwardian, when they had the S-bend, where the bums were sitting. Yeah, so that was all corsetry. That was when the corsets got a little bit longer. Victorian era, they were a bit shorter, but the waist was ridiculously small and caused lots of health problems for women. Yeah. But yeah, you have to create the correct silhouette. It's not just the garment. You're creating the foundation, the silhouette underneath that creates that silhouette. Yeah.
Oh, you need to write a book.
I know.
Spend the rest of the show talking about this.
Yeah, no, but it's I love it. It's been brilliant. Yeah, and I feel like I just can make. Once I did it, I thought I can make anything. That's how I felt when I left it. So, yeah, it really boosted my confidence once I'd finish my studies. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you can't make anything, but we're going to make the Colourblock dress today. So what would you like to show us?
So yeah, we're just mainly going to focus on the front because that's basically where all the action is. So I don't know if you can see the one behind you. You can see all them panels there. I think there's 4 panels on the front. So I've just got the pieces out in front of me here, and I've just lined them up on the table just so you can get a quick glimpse of what they might look like. Okay, so you've got this is the right side of the dress. Okay, so this is the bodice area, and there's going to be a dart there. The left side here, no darts in there, and this is the bottom of the left part there. And the middle, which is cut on the fold, so it's quite a large piece. So a nice big triangle that goes in the middle. Okay, so if I just move them out of the way, and I'll show you the actual pattern pieces.
Because I was saying earlier, when we bring you quite a few of these so different dresses and jackets and coats and all sorts, and when you look at the finished garment, to me it's always, that looks really there's always a little quirk.
Yeah,
or
a little quirk. Well, the thing about
like
this is it's a basic shift dress, but what she's done is she's just cleverly divided up the front there. And the main thing you need to not worry about, but just be aware of is the fact that it's cut on diagonals and on the bias. Okay, so it does go through this in the instructions, and I'll show you here on the pattern. It does tell you that you need to stay stitched down your diagonals, so you can see there, across here, down this side, and here and here.
So stay stitching for anyone that's new to dressmaking. What's that?
So stay stitching. So I'll just show an example here. So basically, all I've done is done roughly about ½ centimetre stitch. Just a line along the edge where it instructs me to do that.
Right.
I don't know if we can zoom in and take a look at that.
Stop it stretching.
Yeah, because basically once it's all together, as it hangs, it could pull out of shape. So don't skip this step. This step's you might think, oh, well, I don't need to do that. That's just not necessary. I just want to get on and make it. It's actually really important that you do it with this dress because it will pull out of shape and potentially the dress might not look that great when it's hanging there. It will pull out and stretch. So yeah, really important. If I turn it over, can you see it better on the back there? To just do just a small stitch along the edge. It's about ½ centimetre from the edge. Okay, so it's really important. Do all that before you start putting the dress together. Okay. Right. So if I move all my pattern pieces out of the way. So this is the piece I'm going to focus on first. So this is the right side, so the longer piece, and this piece has a dart in it. So we've got to do the dart first. So I'll just move all my pieces out of the way. And I've cut this piece in the red polka dot, which is very pretty. Always makes me think of 1940s when I do red polka dot. Actually, what reminds me of, as well, when I was actually studying fashion, one of the first things I made, it was called a moulage project.
Right.
And basically, they gave us a shape to work with, and we had to cut all our pattern pieces out with that shape, and I got a circle, which was kind of like the hardest shape to get. But what I came up with, like, it worked really well. It ended up looking like kind of a 1940s little top, and it was, and I made it out of a polka dot fabric lining, so it always reminds me of that when I'm working with polka dots. So with darts now, so I've just drawn on the shape of my dart there. So I've got my point there, and my notches here. So I do have a background in teaching, and when I teach people to do darts, this is how I normally teach them. So we fold it, so we're matching our notches. So it's always notch on top of notch. Then we start to pin it. And the way we should pin, I always find easier, is go in on the line and then back out on the line round the back. And gradually work your way down to the point. So it's in on the line, out on the line. That's how I normally try to help people remember.
I think that's a good tip because simply folding the fabric over the dart doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to sit flat.
And some darts as well, sometimes they have a little bit of a curve to them.
Yes.
Because if you think about our body shapes, we're curved, we're not angular.
Oh, we weren't on Heartbeat, we were very pointy.
Pointy bras.
Oh, yes.
Fabulous. Yeah, it's probably an exception there. But it's weird though how historically women were so pushed into different proportions, and it was quite sad, really, that the fact that women were had their bodies manipulated like that for an ideal shape. I suppose we still see it today in a way, don't we?
And obviously not with the corsets, but back in those days, children were dressed as like in adult garments.
Like adult, they were like little adults,
didn't have
weren't
play
they?
outfits. They had the full set.
Yeah. Right, so we've got all that pinned. So my stitch line, so I'm going to start here where my notch is at the top and stitch all the way down. So just before I start, I'm just going to explain how I'm going to do that. And you might have a different way of doing it to me. It's entirely up to yourself which way you do this. This is the way I like to do it, okay? So as I stitch down, I'm probably going to be on about a 2.5, 3 stitch length. Okay. As I start to get closer and closer to my point here, I'm actually going to make my stitch length very small to about a 1.
Okay.
What that helps to do is as we get closer and closer, it helps me hit my point easier.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because if it's a longer stitch length, you're more likely to overrun and miss it. So I'll take it to the machine and I'll carry on stitching on around about 2.5, 3. And as I get close, I'll go down to about a 1. And then I'm going to speed up. Okay, when I get to the point, I'll speed up, stitch off the fabric, and the fabric will twirl around itself. Okay, and then I'll steam it.
Seen that before.
All right. That's how I was taught when I was doing fashion. That's how I was taught to do it. So you go very fast, make your stitch very small, and as you come off the fabric, it twists round itself. And if you steam it, the fibres will lock together and stop it coming undone.
Oh wow!
Yeah, okay.
So I've heard of curving the end of the dart and then maybe back stitching along the fold, or hand stitching the threads back in again.
Yeah.
That's
you can
the
still
bit
do
that
that.
you tend not to do because can't be bothered.
Yeah, you can still do that. I've seen people where they'll stop on the dot, turn it round and then sew back on themselves.
Yeah.
Do that if you want. The only thing I would advise, definitely don't do, is back tack on your point, because it won't lie flat and smooth, and that's the point of the dye. I want it to be nice and flat and smooth across the bust. Okay, so we'll take it over to the machine. So just a standard straight stitch. So I'm just going to position my needle down first, where I need it. I'm going to start with the back tack.
Oh, we've had a question from Pauline. She says she doesn't have an overlocker. Do you zigzag each piece separately before sewing together?
That's perfectly fine, yeah. I mean, I haven't done it on these, but yeah, that's fine. If you don't have an overlocker, and it's not the end of the world if you don't have an overlocker, just do a really small zigzag, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Especially as well on the bias as well. You can use a zigzag on the bias. Yeah, that's
a good idea.
Yeah.
But you do those to the individual pieces, or would you do it after you've sewn the garment together?
I would do it before I've sewn it together. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so.
Any questions, come and ask them, you know.
So
the sound's rather low. The sound's rather low. Can we turn us up a bit, Chris? Please, okay.
I'm going to try and remember to remove my pins as I go, because I tend to forget to do that and end up snapping them. It's very naughty of me.
So do you sew for yourself, or is it work?
Not much, mainly work. I really need to start treating myself and start making some of my own garments, because I do like kind of make them for other people, but not myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to get into the habit of making some for myself. So I'm getting close to my point now. So I'm going to make my stitch really small. I'm going to go down to 1. And I can see my dot there. So very, very small stitch. I'm just going to remove my pin just as I get very, very close. And I've hit my mark, and now I'm going to come straight off the machine and carry on sewing. So I've got a little tail. Okay, and I will give that a snip. And what we'd do at this point, give it a good steam. So you can see there I've hit my mark quite well. And I've got it bang on my point.
It is important though, isn't it? If there was just one dart, then it wouldn't matter if it wasn't so accurate, but these have got to be symmetrical, so it's going to be noticeable if they're not.
I'll just grab my iron and my pressing mat, and we'll give that a little press. Now, I do recommend using a tailor's ham.
Oh, okay.
To press your darts. Don't think we've got one.
We've got
we do have one, yeah, somewhere. And this dart on the pattern, it's telling us to press it down. I would also press it down. on a bust dart. So ideally, if you did have a tailor's ham, I would lay it, obviously because it's a bust dart. So
we have a tailor's ham officer working on this at the moment, so there should be one with you very short. No, can't find it.
No, I can't find it. It's no trouble. You can, honestly, if you don't have a tailor, you can manage it. It's not the end of the world if you don't have a tailor's ham, but it does give you a much better curve. You know, you're ironing that curve in there.
Okay.
Okay.
What about a tightly rolled up towel if you don't have a ham? Would that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah. I'll just be. The only thing is with that, you can end up with creases on your fabric.
Oh,
so it needs to be.
Yeah.
I've tried that, and that's why I know. Because I thought, I'm not going to say, oh, I'll just use this. I'll roll some fabric up, and I've got loads of creases in it now. So there's our lovely dart, all done. Okay. So the next stage, in the instructions, it then advises you to sew this piece to your centrepiece. I'll just move my iron out of the way.
Are the instructions quite easy to follow? 'Cause it gives
yep.
us a difficulty level of 2, which
show
isn't
you,
very much.
So here they are. So they've got some nice diagrams there. Okay, so it's this step that I'm going to do next. Okay, and what you'll see is a dot. Okay, and those dots are how we're going to line up that centre point there where all the pieces kind of match. Okay?
Right.
And I'm just thinking I may have just ended up, oh, my dot's still there. No, I just ironed it. I thought, oh, if I ironed my dot off, no, it's still there, thankfully.
Oh, we don't want to iron our dots off, do we?
So I'm attaching the longer piece, which is a piece on the right, to the centre piece, which is cut on the fold. Okay, so this is my lovely pink polka dot. And if I turn, so you'll see there, so I've stair stitched down both sides. And you can see that I've got a cross there where my dot is, so X marks the spot there. And I'm going to start to pin this.
Now, Julie's put a message on Facebook saying, I wear a 26, which is the largest size on here size-wise, but don't fit the measurements on the back of the pattern. Would it be easy to adjust? It's quite fitted, actually, isn't it?
It is fitted, but it doesn't have a zip or anything, but it is quite fitted considering it doesn't have any sort of opening, a zip. It's a difficult one. You would probably need to add some seam allowance on if that's the case. There's no reason why you couldn't just add that at the side seams, but then you would then have to alter your sleeves as well. Yeah, it's a tricky one, that.
Might be a difficult one, that one, Julie. Sorry. Oh, Rosina says, how much is the Elna 560 for a beginner sewer? I don't know. We'll have a look and let you know. In fact, we can have a look on the website for you. And we're going to show it just for you, Rosina. This is the sewing machine. It's got a 2-year warranty, 100 stitches. Lovely little machine. Nice and compact, so it's easy to store if you're not in the position where you can leave your sewing stuff out all day long. We're looking for it. Be there in a minute.
Okay.
And simple to use, so if you're a beginner, it's absolutely perfect for you. Is it not there? Oh, there you go. £499. Is that the 560? No, that's the 550. Have we got the 560 in stock? The 550 has 50 stitches, the 560 has 100 stitches, and it's got the thread snipper. That's the only difference. It's the same size, same warranty and all that kind of thing. But I don't think we've got the 560 in stock at the moment, I'm afraid. But the 550 for a beginner is very adequate. So.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just pinning that seam, and I've matched my notches. So I have a notch, it was here, and where is it? Where's my other notch? There's one round here somewhere that I've just matched. There it is there. So you've got a notch there and a notch down here to match your side, that seam up. And yeah, and it's just straight stitch all the way down. So it's actually quite a straightforward construction, to be honest.
Okay.
It's all straight stitching, and it's just a case of matching them dots up just to make sure that the correspondence, so you're getting that geographic look that's been created. So I'll just put my stitch length back up, can go up to about with 2.5, 3. So
Would you use an overlocker normally?
I do have one, and I do like an overlocker, but sometimes they're a pain to get out, and unless you've got them out all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put my iron down here a sec. If I can't be bothered, I'll just use a zigzag. Yeah, if in doubt, use a zigzag. But some machines do come with overlocking capabilities.
Yeah.
Overlocking stitch. So there's, it's not be all and end all having an overlocker. It's it doesn't matter too much. There's always, like I say, overlocking stitches that you can use. Don't really fork out for one unless you really need to.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I like mine for speed, to be honest.
Yeah. And this one, it's a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance.
So we're saying on the packet that we can make this in 4 hours.
Yeah, it took me about that, I'd say.
Did it?
Yeah.
So you could start sewing in the morning and wear it out in the evening.
I remember as well, because it doesn't have a zip or anything, so if you're not very confident with fastenings and zips, you don't need to worry about it, because it doesn't have one. Yeah. So it just goes over your head, this one.
Do you remember the first thing you ever sewed?
Oh. I remember I got, well, I first started sewing when I first went to secondary school. That's when we first did textiles, and loved it straight away.
Did you?
Yeah, and I can't remember the first thing I sewed, but at school. But then I got a sewing machine for Christmas. But because I was so young, I didn't know what I was doing, And I tried making things. I think I tried making. I used to get these magazines, these them weekly magazines where.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
The first issue was £1, the next one's like 10 quid, them ones. I used to get some sewing magazines and I collected them for a long time, and I've still got them. And I think I tried to do like was it a chair cover or something? Oh, what a mess. But that's it, when you first start, you just don't know what you're doing, and it's so helpful just to, like a channel like this, you've got someone to show you what to do and give you tips and advice, but there was nothing like that back then. Yeah. So.
Did your mum not sew?
She no, but she did sew at school. I remember she's always told me, oh, I made what did she make? I think she made like a pinafore dress or something. She said, oh, I wore it and all. Yeah, so she did make something and she did wear it. Yeah, but back then, girls did it more, I think, at school than they do now. Right. So got those right side pieces put together. We now need to press them seams open. So I'll just grab my iron. And they're actually quite nice fabrics to work with these because the cotton. Yeah. And as well, working on the bias, it's much easier having a nice cotton rather than something that's stretchy.
We've had a question, sorry, I didn't hear it all, Liam. From Helen. Hi, Helen. And she said, oh, would you advise to cut the dart open on the back? When she was at school, she was told to do that.
Cut the dart open?
Cut the dart, yeah.
I don't know what...
I've never cut
Oh,
the
does she mean to trim it?
Yeah, maybe.
I would say no, unless it's a massive dart. Because sometimes if you have a really big dart, like in a jacket or something, you could do it and it just ends up with a seam.
Yeah.
But with something like this, I wouldn't cut this. No.
No, I've never cut dart.
Yeah, if it's a very big dart, you would, because there'd be so much bulk.
Yeah.
You would, yeah. But with a dart like this, you wouldn't cut into it. No. Okay, so that is this is the left side, sorry, the right side and the middle put together. And if I just have a look at my instructions, so the next bit is going to be the left side. And we're going to stitch the pointy bit there. You can see the smaller one there together. Okay. So that is my right side complete. So again, if I just show you the pattern pieces actually, just so it's going to be these pattern pieces here. So this is the bodice part on the left hand side. And this is referred to as the half side, which attaches to this piece like that. Okay. And again with these, just be aware you have some dots that you need to mark on your fabric. So we've got a dot there and we've got a dot here. Okay. So I'll just fetch them pieces. So here is my bodice piece. And here is the piece it's going to attach in the lovely grey polka dot. I think that's my favourite of the polka dots that we've got available. It's lovely.
Like that one.
Yeah. And again, these have notches, so make sure you're matching your notches up.
Would you recommend making a toile first?
If you're looking to alter it, I would, like the lady who asked before. Yeah, it might be worth making a toile. Otherwise, it's quite straightforward to put together. But yeah, if you are concerned with the sizing, a toile might be good. Yeah.
Okay. And do you use a dress form?
I do have a dress form, yeah. But it's really nice because these fit perfectly on it when I make. So it's really good because I always have to photograph everything when I make in time, just so people can see what's coming up on the show. And so I always make it in a size 12 and put it on my mannequin. They always fit perfectly on my mannequin, which is great. But I do, because I have a couple of mannequins. I have an adjustable one and like a foam one.
Yeah.
Ideally, I want one of the very expensive ones, but they're very expensive. So, but yeah, I manage all right. So yeah, don't go mad buying a really expensive dress form. A foam one is pretty good, to be honest. Right, so that's all pinned on. So it's just straight stitch all the way across. So I'll take it over to the machine again. I'll try to remember. Let's move my iron out of the way again. Try to remember to remove my pins.
Catherine says she used to make dolls' clothes by hand because she didn't have a machine. I started when I was about 8. I was the same, dolls' clothes by hand.
I think my great-grandmother used to do that, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I remember my mum saying things like that.
Yeah.
And she also, as well, she used to knit without patterns. She could knit garments without patterns, which is amazing. Yeah.
I can knit dolls' clothes without patterns, but they don't really need to fit, do they?
Yeah.
No, that's a skill.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's sad that we don't. A lot of us don't know how to do that anymore, do we? So.
Do you knit as well?
I don't knit. I can knit very basic stuff, but yeah, that is something that I want to get into a bit more. Do a bit of crocheting. But yeah, so I can sew quite well, but I can't really knit. Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely not an expert on knitting.
I'm a very slow knitter, one of those kind of knitters. Whereas my sister who knits kind of does this, and a jumper falls out of her hands. It's amazing.
I did start buying some knitting magazines, and again, I've just not got round to doing them. But no, I would like to be able to knit. Yeah.
Any other crafts? Do you paper craft or?
I don't paper craft.
Macrame.
I'd like to get into doing tambour beading.
What's that? Not heard of that.
It's where you, or tambour embroidery. It's where you stretch. Like embroidery, you stretch it across a hoop like a sheer fabric, and you bead it. Oh. So I think you use like a crochet hook needle. Yeah. And you have one thread underneath, one on top. You drop your beads on, and then it looks really complicated. It's one of the things you just need to get the knack of the movement and things. So I'd like to have a go at that. And some more like historical things like black work and crewel. I'd love to have a go at some stuff like that. Yeah. Now I think if I check my instruction, I think it says to press these. No, we press this seam open, we don't press it up. Right, we'll press that seam open.
And a friend of mine is a button maker that started off in costumes.
Yeah.
as well, and making authentic
Wow.
buttons. Like you said, because somebody's going to look at that
Yeah.
military jacket and say, well, that's
Yeah,
not
I remember,
from that era, or...
I remember looking at when I worked on Outlander, looking at our stash of buttons and accessories. There was so many.
Yeah.
Thousands of buttons were bought, and just things that would look authentic, and the amount of money they must have spent on it. I mean, it was amazing, but it had to be that authentic.
Yeah.
But we had loads of buttons and buckles because it was 18th century.
Yes.
So loads of buttons and buckles and all sorts. But it was fabulous, like Aladdin's cave when you went in there, just looking at everything.
But even a little bit more modern times, I used to have an authentic or original 1920s flapper dress.
Wow.
With so many hooks and eyes down the side because
Yeah.
zips weren't around
Yeah,
then. And
yeah.
you don't think somebody
I bet that
actually...
was really heavy, was it?
Oh,
Was it-
yes, yeah.
all the-
It
yeah.
wasn't all the fringes and everything,
Yeah.
but it was beaded.
Yeah.
In like orange and gold, it was amazing.
Ooh,
But of
yeah.
course, every bead hand sewn on, and
Yeah.
it's just the work that went into it.
Right, so we've got both sides made there, and it's just a case now of sewing them together and matching up our circles. So that's the next stage. So you will get some crossing over of your seams,
Right.
just to bear in mind. And again, I think I've got my notches. It doesn't matter if I've ironed off my circle, I'm okay, I've got my notches. So I've got my notch here. So I'm attaching, both sides together. So that's the left side of the bodice, and this is the right side. And I'm matching my notch here. And again, it's just one big long seam, and then the front will be complete.
I just asked you, pin-wise, do you use a flower head pins because that's what we have available here, or is that what you'd use at home?
I've got some nice little small silk pins that I like to use. I think there's some
Okay.
on here actually. So, but I do like these.
Yeah, I like
But I've got these little silk pins that I like to use.
Okay.
Sometimes I find the bog standard pins can be a bit harsh and
The steel pins.
yeah.
I have difficulty getting hold of them. And finding them.
Yeah.
So I like the flower head ones. You can get some very, very fine ones, which are quite nice, but I can see them, and I can see them if I drop them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's weird how we have preferences for pin. You wouldn't think it would matter, but yeah. Little things like that do matter. Yeah. So let's just check how I'm getting on with this. So I've got another notch here. So I'm into like the bottom front panel here.
But I'm the same with hand sewing needles. I know there's lots of different types of needles for different jobs and different fabrics. There's one particular size and shape of needle that I use for everything because I like it.
Yeah. It's whatever makes your job easier, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. So do you use a domestic sewing machine at home as well? Have you got an industrial one?
I do have an industrial. I also have a domestic. It's a manual rather than a computerised one. But
really?
Yeah. But I do like a computerised as well. The benefits of a computerised, I think it's great for a beginner because everything's kind of set up and you don't need to worry about a multitude of things that you would with a manual. I think because I sew professionally, I think I like a manual because I feel like I'm in a bit more control of. Yeah. But if you're not looking to do it professionally, one of these is fabulous. And also as well because it has I always say this when I come on, I love the needle drop button. Yeah. If you engage that and you stop, and because I don't have that on my manual, but that's one thing I absolutely love about a computerised machine. But also as well, as I was prepping this morning, using this machine, it flowed so nicely as it was sewing. The stitching was really nice. So yeah, definitely. I think at one point I thought, I don't want to use a computer. I was so used to using what I was like either an industrial or a manual, but since I've started to do more craft stuff and I'm using these machines more, I'm like, actually, they're quite all right, these machines. I was getting a bit snobby, I think. But yeah, the very first machine I had was very basic and manual, and I did struggle with it. But yeah, something like this would be great for a beginner. So nearly at the end there.
Oh, Julie says, if you're overlocking the edges, would you still need to use stay stitching?
Yes. Yeah, overlocking the edges is basically just to neaten them, but I would still stay stitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Janice says, made some pyjamas at school, but overconfidently sewed the trouser legs together into one leg.
Oh, I've done that.
With French seams.
I've done that so many.
I was saying the other day, actually, I don't mind getting things wrong and unpicking. I get frustrated if I then re-sew it wrongly again. My daughter did exactly the same thing with a pair of trousers and had a skirt with a lump at the front.
I've done that a few times,
But then she unpicked it all and did it again.
I know, I can, I've done that. I can vouch for that, definitely.
I mean, it's a good look if you wear a codpiece.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the worst thing, is that you know you've done it wrong and then you go and do it again. It's just, Okay, so just removing...
I know I've told you before, I've sewn sleeves of a jacket in the wrong way round. So they're like that. Unpick them. This was hand sewing as well. Unpick them, sew them back in again. I like that. Never wore the jacket either.
Well, that's always the way, isn't it? I think sometimes if something's been frustrating, you kind of fall out of love with it as well.
Yes.
You start off with really good intentions, and if it goes wrong, you do fall out of love with it, and it becomes a chore. But that happens to everybody. I
think my mistakes happen when I'm rushing. I can do this. So I know what I'm doing. I can do it really quickly. And then I'm kicking myself, or missing out pins, or not matching the notches because it's the same length. That'll be fine.
Yeah. But as you get it under, they can move and shift. Yeah. So yeah.
So yes, you're going to wear this at the end of the day. So it's worth the stay stitching, the pinning, the notching, everything. Have you got any more questions, by the way? Come and ask them. Julie says the worst has to be sewing a buttonhole wrong and unpicking it and doing it again. Did it last week.
The thing is, with doing that, what you can do if you do that wrong, if you snip off just the very top of the threads, because that's where the knots are, you snip the and it's easy to pull out. Obviously, know from experience. So that's a quicker way of doing it. Not that it is quick to do, but it might speed it up a little bit.
My daughter's watching this morning as well. Kim, just want to go telling everybody that you sewed your trousers into a skirt twice. Sorry about that, talking about you this morning. But morning. Sophia's messaged on YouTube. Hello, Sophia. She said, what garment would you suggest for a sewing beginner? What do you think?
I was going to say pyjamas.
Pyjamas is a good one. Maybe not the classic ones with the collar and everything. Yeah,
just with a waistband. I mean, I'm doing some trousers.
Behind you.
Yeah, the ones
so
behind
11
me.
o'clock.
11 o'clock. They've got pockets in, but if you want to do it without, if you weren't confident, you could just don't have the pockets in.
There's a lot of patterns out there. We do them here. I can't think off the top of my head that don't have darts and don't have closures and zips and buttonholes and things like that. So just something loose fitting.
Yeah, I mean nowadays it's quite fashionable for the batwing tops and things where it's such a basic shape and will fit many different sizes of women. So nowadays you can get away with things not being too tailored, and it looks brilliant,
Paul Director suggests a poncho because it's just a bit of fabric with an hole in it. You're not wrong, Paul. You're right. That's right.
Yeah, well, a poncho, it could just be a circle. Yeah. But the thing is, when you're sewing circles, you'll have to hem it. And it's tricky to hem the circle unless you bag it out. Yeah. But even then, it's circles can be quite difficult if you're a beginner.
We're nattering away. We've got about 5 minutes left. Is that okay for you?
That's perfect because I'm pretty much done with this front now. I just need to press it up, but you can have a good look there how that's gone together.
It's just like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, isn't it?
Yeah, just match your notches up.
Yeah.
So no, that's perfect timing. So, and with the back, it's just, if I got the piece, bear with, I will grab the piece. So you're just cutting, so it's not cut on the fold, but you're just cutting 2 of your back pieces, stitch them together, and when you are joining the front to the back, you join at the shoulders first.
Right.
Okay, and then down your side seams, and then add your sleeve in. Now the sleeve, again, let me just grab that pattern. It's quite a nice simple sleeve because this one, she's not putting any notches on it, it doesn't need them, it's basically, it's all cut on the fold.
Oh, okay.
So it's nice and simple to put in. So you don't need to fuss too much about matching, making sure, is it the right way around, is it the front or is it the back of the sleeve?
All right.
It's just cut on the fold, this one. So
you won't be doing that?
Yeah. So with the sleeve, I do have the piece cut here. With the sleeve, you would stitch down your side seam. What I like to do actually is, once I've done that, I actually hemmed it before I put it in. I thought it would be easier to do that rather than put everything together and then have to take everything over to the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then it's just a case. One thing I do recommend actually with the sleeve, I've actually cut, because it's on the fold, I've actually snipped a little notch in the top. You probably won't be able to see it. So when it's on the fold, just snip a little notch when it's pinned to your fabric there, because then that will then match up when you've got your sleeves together.
Right.
Okay, so that's the main advice I would give with the sleeve. Just match that notch that you add there with the sleeve, and then you know to add your sides. The seam would need to match the side seam at the bottom of the armhole. Okay. Yeah. So that's how you do the front. Yeah. That's the main tricky bit really. That wasn't that bad, just to be honest.
Not at all. No.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Okay.
We're going to be back, or Faye's going to be back again at 11 o'clock with the blouse and the trousers that you see. There's a lot to do in that one, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm going to
2 garments.
Yeah, 2 garments. So I'm going to demonstrate this V here because that's
Right.
I do want to show you a little technique to do that because it's important that you get this to turn through correctly. And I'm going to show you the pockets on the trousers.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I love those trousers.
Fab, aren't they?
They look really comfy and very fashionable as well.
So if you're a beginner and you're looking for a first project, you could do something like that, but just don't put the pockets in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So come on back at 11 o'clock. So we'll see you again then. You can have another cup of tea now. I've got my coffee. We have a waiter service here as well. Only for presenters, though, because we stamp our feet if we're not waited on hand and foot. This is the pattern. Sleeved or sleeveless, that's entirely up to you. So all full instructions are in there. It says time about 4 hours and a difficulty rating of 2 out of 5. So it's not a difficult dress at all, but it is striking, isn't it? So if you are a beginner, why not just give it a go? On the bust size, just briefly again, in inches, we have from 33 inches on the size 8 all the way through to 50¼ inches on the size 26. Have a look on the website if you can on sewingstreet.com, and it'll give you a picture of the back so you can see all of your fabric requirements. And it's around about, they're all different colours, so you have to have a look on that for your fabrics. We have put some together for you though, which are enough fabrics to make up the larger size. A lot of you have been buying this not just for making the dresses with, so it does have a nautical kind of feeling with the blue and white stripes, doesn't it? So we have 1.5 meters of the wide stripe, we have 1 metre of the narrow stripe and 1 metre of the pale blue stripe, so that's 3.5 metre bundle in total for £27.99. So this is what the sample dress Faye made up in it, so that's what it's going to look like in this fabric. But of course you don't have to make the dress with it. It doesn't come with the pattern, so if you just love that fabric, I like stripes for, well, pyjamas, for shirts, an obvious one, but for little girls' dresses when they're gathered, I just think they look really sweet. And I love the combination of the 3 stripes on there as well. So again, that's £27.99. If you want to go for the spots that Faye was demonstrating with, that is these. So we have 1.5 meters of the silver grey spot, we have 1 metre of the bright pink and 1 metre of the red spot for £33.99. So I knew you'd like that one, Kim. And then we have the denim. So 1.5 meters of the dark. We have a metre of the medium, and we have a metre of the pale for $33.99. You've got, let me just have a look how wide this is actually, because I've got a feeling that even the denim's 140. Let's have a look. 140 wide. It's good, isn't it? So if you are buying it for bag making or jacket making, again, it's not coming with a pattern, so you can make what you like with it. It's your denim. You've got a really good price there, and I love the combination of the 3 different coloured denims. I'm sure we've made this dress out of this before. Sure we have. Jerry wants to know if we can put lining on the dress. Could you put a lining on the dress, Faye?
Potentially.
You don't really need to,
You don't really,
do you?
yeah, because it hangs quite nice as it is. But yeah, if you wanted to put a lining in, there's no reason why. Just be aware that it does go over your head.
Yes.
In case you accidentally make the lining and make it a bit smaller with a lining, but there's no reason why you couldn't add a lining if you didn't want to. It does have a facing on the neck as well,
Right.
so you could just attach your lining to that, yeah.
Okay, so yes you can, but you don't need to, Jerry. Hope that helps. Right, are we up to date here? My daughter's fallen in love with that pink top. I knew you'd like it. Anything with a ruffle or a gather for Kim. Trinity 11, honey. The cafetiere cover in chocolate fabric. We'll go back to chocolate fabric. We're looking at chocolate fabric at 10 o'clock again. It's still on the website if you wanted to order. Quick reminder of our early bird while we've still got the stock. This has been really busy. 10 Gutermann spools, almost 70% of the stock sold out, and you've got needles, loads of them, all different sizes, universal needles, and you've got glass head pins as well for £17.99. That works out at £1.50 for a spool of thread. And the 100 metres, they're not teeny tiny ones. Those are and all posh then. Did you know those are the ones that I'd pay twice that much for? So yeah, I think that's great value. If there's any left at the end of the day today, they're going straight in my shopping basket. But I've got a feeling that they won't be there. £2 saving because this is your early bird special, and multi-order them while we've got the stock. It's great value. Now then, coming up in the next hour, we have 2 air thread overlockers. I should be demonstrating the Elna 850 air thread. And we've got those bias binding makers as well, which is something brand new, if you've got any left. I've been buying loads of those throughout the course of the morning this morning. So we'll take a quick break and see you again in a couple of minutes.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hello everyone, I'm Delphine Brooks. It's so great to be here and part of the Sewing Street family. I'm local, I'm only down the road in Warwickshire. I started sewing many years ago when I was very young, doing lots of art and painting, and eventually I went into textiles, and I really enjoyed doing the two together. I then had a bit of a break. Something you don't know about me maybe is that I spent many years in the Royal Air Force and eventually in the police as well. And then I went full circle and I've come back to my happy place of sewing, and which I really enjoy. My best sewing tip is measure twice and cut once. I have chipped up a couple of times by not measuring properly, and I do always regret it. So now I always measure twice, cut once. Anyway, I really hope to be with you again soon, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great.
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
And it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and gemporia.com.
Did you know that if you shop with Sewing Street, you're only going to pay one lot of postage all day? That's one payment of £3.95, no matter what you're buying. And you can check out as many times as you like without having to pay another delivery charge. So shop online at www.sewingstreet.com, or you can order via our call centre, which is 0800 001 4433.
Hello everyone, my name's Cara Ackerman and I'm absolutely delighted to be here at Sewing Street. I actually originated from Hertfordshire, then went down to Hampshire and then it ended up in the East Midlands. I've been in the East Midlands for about 40 years now, which seems crazy, but 36 of those I actually worked with DMC Creative World, which was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. And then I decided to go freelance, and that's how I got introduced to Sewing Street. I love doing anything to do with textiles, so embroidery, cross stitch, patchwork, done a bit of quilting, bag making, toy making, oh goodness, there's loads and loads of things. What I love doing is just trying something new, and I think one of the tips is don't be frightened of trying something new. You always learn from it, and you know, don't be scared of making mistakes either. We all learn from the mistakes that we make. Little bit about me that you might not know, and that's a bit of a surprise. I once went to the garden party down at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's garden party, for some work that I did with Marie Curie. I was so lucky to go there, and just a wonderful time. So I hope to see more of you on Sewing Street, and I hope to try lots of new crafts with you. So see you again soon. Bye bye.
If you love sewing, then you need the UK's favourite sewing magazine. Every month, you'll receive exclusive patterns. Follow simple step-by-step guides suitable for all skill levels to make your own stunning clothes, accessories and more, together with inspiring tips and tricks from industry experts. Join in and discover your love for sewing. Try Love Sewing today and get your first 3 issues for just £6.
Hello there, welcome back. Did you go and put the kettle on? Got a cup of tea? Lovely. We like to be nice and relaxed. Is everybody out of bed this morning? We had so many people watching in bed today. You're still there? Oh, okay, that's fine. Right, in this hour, we're going to be looking at the Juki air thread overlocker and the Elna air thread overlocker. There is a big difference in price between the two, so I just wanted to explain why, because I know that's the first thing that I'd think. And I'm going to demonstrate with the Elna because that's the same as the one I've got at home. I've got the Genome version of it, so I'm more comfortable with that one, that's to be honest. But okay, differences. They're both air threaders, okay? And that means that the really scary bit when you open up the front of an overlocker and you've got all of these channels and tubes and things taken out of the equation with an air thread overlocker. Yes, it still looks a little bit scary when you open it up, but if I just open this up gently here, air pumps the thread through the correct channel so you don't have to worry about it. Now with your Juki, this is an electronic pump, so when you press the button at the side there, you put the ends of the thread into the little holes here, press the button and it goes and it takes all of the thread through the right channels and out underneath here. With the Elna, you manually pump it. So that's one difference. With the Juki here, you've got all of the stitches in front of you and you've got a digital stitch selection. With your Elna, you don't have as many stitches and you'll have to go to the manual to look at them. With your Juki, you don't need to thread in a particular order. With most overlockers that I've used before and with the Elna, if you break a thread, you've got to go right back to the beginning, completely unthreading it and rethreading from the left, from the right to the left. I think most overlockers are like that, but with the Juki it doesn't matter. You thread them in whatever order that you like. So out of the two, this is 1,095. You get what you pay for. I think the Juki is a little bit more advanced and I think it's going to be easier to use. But that's £1,095, so I'd say this is the top of the range. With the Elna, you've got the wrong price for a start, but don't worry, because if you're ordering it, we're going to honour that price. It should be £979. We've got this for you at £699. It's still an air thread overlocker, so it still has the same benefits of being easy to thread. They're both 4 or 3 thread overlockers, 4 maximum. Apart from those major differences, it works in exactly the same way. If you see the stitches on one and the stitches on another, you wouldn't be able to identify which machine it came from. So the Juki, little bit easier to thread, but even so, with this one, all coming out, you pump it like that. So instead of pressing the button, you pump it manually. It still works the same way. So again, this is what, actually I paid £850 for mine, and I thought I got a bargain there. If you're not aware what an overlocker is, basically you have 2 threads called the loopers, which are wrapped around the edge of your fabric to stop it from fraying and give it a professional finish, and will stretch. So if you're working a lot with jerseys, this is going to be a must-have for you. There are 2 needle threads. You can use 1, you can use 2, and if you're going to use 1, you can take away either one of those, and that makes a slight difference to the width of your stitches. The difference between an overlocker and an overcasting stitch on your sewing machine, they may look very similar, but an overlocker has a blade on the side of it as well, which means that it snips away. If I just turn this around and show you, I'll switch it off. The blade is here, and that snips away at the edge of your fabric. So it trims away the loose threads, and it also gives you a very neat finish. So that's the blade there. That will munch away at the edge of your fabric. Down here we've got a stitch width adjuster, or the distance that the blade is from the edge of your fabric. You can also make a rolled hem with this one. You simply switch it from standard to roll. I'll show you that later on if you have time. And if you want to, you can remove the blade, or you can take it away so it's not actually cutting, so you can disengage the blade. But with this machine, you can do a rolled hem with the blade. My previous overlocker, which was a manual one, you couldn't. What I like about this as well is this. You can get in there to clean it. So, and this isn't just to show off or to confuse. You can actually get inside there and clean it all out. You're going to get a lot of lint when you're overlocking, particularly if you're doing toweling or fleece or fluffy types of fabric. So it's nice to be able to get right inside there and give it all a brush and a clean out. So anything that you can see, give it a bit of a dust down. You won't need to oil this. So let me just double check on that one. Look. Oh, you do have oil. Have a look in the manual, and that'll tell you where, you don't just chuck oil at it, where you're supposed to actually do that. So that'll all be explained in the manual. But that looks a bit scary, doesn't it? So I'm going to do that. But let me show you what the stitches are like, first of all. I bought mine, I bought the air threader just because I can thread an overlocker. I just don't enjoy threading overlockers because it was so much quicker. But I bought my overlocker initially because of the speed. I was saying to Faye in the last hour. These sew at about 1,250 stitches a minute. An average domestic sewing machine will sew at about 650, so you've got twice the speed. So if you, I mean, you can use an overlocker as your seam. Take into account, if you're following a pattern, what your seam allowance actually is. But if you're finishing seams on maybe a pair of curtains, particularly if it's a loose weave and they tend to fray a lot, when you've got big stretches of fabric, it's just so much quicker to just shove it all underneath it, so quick. And again, for finishing seams, if you're dressmaking, stretch fabric, I think you must have, not if you're just going to make one outfit, because that's a lot of money to spend on the cost of your outfit, isn't it? But if you're going to be doing a lot with stretch fabric, you find this invaluable. So let's switch it on. I'll just make sure we're in the right settings. And always test, have a play first of all. I've got 4 different colour threads in here. Let's just come off there. So I can identify what those stitches actually mean. So the yellow and the red are the loopers, and then the blue and the white, can't quite see the white, can you, are the machine stitches. and that's pretty good. What we need to see is the yellow and the white stitches meeting on the top, and then there are 2 rows of stitches here, the white's on the bottom, the blue's there, and that is pretty much perfect. You do have tension adjusters on the front here. Have a play with those when you're using it, because if my red thread is looping, it may be the tension of the red thread that needs adjusting to tighten it back up again, or it may be the yellow thread that needs tightening to pull the red thread down, if that makes sense. Don't go mad adjusting them crazily. They'll be set anywhere between 2 and 4, so mine are all on 3 at the moment, that's a little bit tighter. Move one of them slightly, try again, move one slightly, try again, and always test on the fabric that you're going to be using with the thicknesses that you're going to be using. So if you're making a seam, test on 2 layers of fabric. If you're going to finish a seam, the fabric edge, then just test on 1 layer of fabric. But you'll find with different types of fabric, this is cotton, the last time I used this machine it was viscose, it worked the same on both, but different types of fabric behave in different ways, so it's worth just testing and then adjusting slightly if you need to. Now, something else to mention with these machines, both the same, is that they have a differential. My original overlocker didn't. And basically the differential means that, you know, you've got your feed dogs underneath here, just like you do with the sewing machine. These have 2 sets and they are in front and behind each other. So you probably just about see under there. So when you first get it home, they will be set to feed the fabric through both at the same time. But you can adjust that. You can adjust the rate that they feed the fabric through. So if you have the front feed dogs pushing the fabric through at a quicker pace than the rear feed dogs, it's going to make it gather. It'll all gather up. And if you have the front feed dogs slower than the rear feed dogs, it'll stretch the fabric out. Now, the main reason for that is because sometimes when you're sewing a seam, depending on the fabric, your fabric may pucker a little bit, it may not sit flat. So adjusting the differential slightly will allow you to stretch the fabric to stop it from puckering. But you can create some lovely effects, particularly on stretch fabric, if you stretch and do a rolled hem at the same time, because you get that lovely lettuce kind of edge. So it gives almost like a frill around sleeves or necklines. So it's easier than hemming, basically. You've got a really nice finish. When you're sewing, I never lift my foot up, to be honest, unless I'm threading a needle. No need to. You can push the front of this up to get thicker fabrics through, and you chain off your thread. So unlike with a sewing machine that doesn't like to sew air, that's what you do with these machines. So just like I did with this piece, let's take it through again. When you come to the end of whatever it is you're sewing, I'm just going to come off there, chain it off, and then cut the thread. Now when you come into the end, or even at the beginning of your work, you're going to have a long tail. So things you can do with that, take a hand needle and thread that back into the seam. If you're going around a corner, then I'm just going to start on this end here. Let's look at Salvador. Then I've already cut off 1 long tail, and I've just got 1 more to sew in there. You can sew around curves quite easily. Take your time with them. Oh, and let me show you the rolled hemmers. I love the rolled hem feature. For something like this, my daughter who's watching, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, makes a lot of tops like this from viscose and from stretch fabrics, but instead of hemming, she'll do the rolled hem. On fine fabrics and things like viscose, it just looks so delicate and fine and lovely. So let me show you. Wasn't slurping coffee at all. So, or should we thread it first? Let's thread it first of all, and then we'll do a rolled hem. So what I'm going to do is to chop off all the threads here and stitch it out. And I'm just going to pull the, where have you gone? There we go, pull that thread out. So it is now not threaded, right? Then I'm going to switch the machine off. When the doors open at the front, you won't be able to use the machine anyway. So if I put my foot on the foot pedal now, but just for safety's sake, then just switch it off anyway, just in case. Now with this machine, you start threading from the right to the left. So it's going to be my yellow thread that goes through first. So you have 1 little bit here, These are the tensions, and you can actually see them. So push the thread into the tension and you can feel when it's in there. That's really simple. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here. We've got one little hook there, in there, and then we're going to thread this looper first. So this, if you watch here, when I move this lever over, it's going to, and the hand wheel towards me, that's kind of got tubes. Let me do that again to show you. So the thread needs to jump from here to here. So it can't do that without something to travel through. So if I flick this over, you can see the tubes have gone. So now the thread can go all the way through. If the tubes don't come there straight away, you flick that over, then turn the handle towards you, and there they are. So now I'm going to point this lever at the hole that I'm concentrating on. And then you'll need to feed this into the hole by about 1 inch. If you struggle with that, put a little bit of hairspray on your fingers and just rub it over the thread to make it stiffer. And then you're going to pump. And you can see that's gone tighter. I'm going to pull this looser so that you can see it going through. And let me just turn that a little bit so you can see it coming out as well. Ready? Is it there yet? Another one. Oh, I think something's gone awry there. There we go. It's just shot out here. So that's threaded. With previous ones that aren't air threaders like this, there's a system that you have to thread through that's inside here. And not all machines will open up for you to be able to access it. That was a nightmare because you've got a pair of tweezers and you're trying to push the thread into an area that you can't see, and you've actually got to hook it round something and then bring it out before you rethread it. If that's the only reason why you're buying this, it's worth it, isn't it? Right, let's go to the red one. So I'm going to move this lever to point at the one that I'm going to thread. So again, let's just really quickly take this through the tensions down here, around there, and then let's feed the thread into the hole. If it doesn't feed through first time, again, just a little bit of hairspray works wonders, because sometimes it just gets caught on the side. It normally does that when you're on live TV trying to thread an overlocker. Has that got it? Not quite. Or you could put some beeswax on the end of it, just to help it. Oh, go on in. And you'd normally be threading this from the front as well, so you can see what you're doing. Are you in there? Right. And you don't have to do this. I'm just loosening the thread so that you can see it actually working. Has that come out yet? Not quite. There we go. So that was just shot out that side. Then we'll thread the needles. I'm only going to thread one needle because I want to do the rolled hem. So you will have, you've got a thread catcher that goes on the front. I don't tend to use mine, but you do have a thread catcher or a fluff catcher. And you will have a little box of tools here as well. So I'm just going to turn this around towards me so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to remove the left-hand needle. You will notice with the needles as well, one's a little bit higher than the other. Supposed to be like that, right? Reason being, if you have two needles hitting your fabric at such high speed at the same time, it can make the stitches pucker a little bit. So they're staggered like this, so that one needle goes through first and then very closely followed by the second one. So when you come to replace needles or you're putting them back in again, don't be concerned that they're not at the same level. They're supposed to be like that. So I'm going to take away the left-hand needle. If it helps, put a piece of fabric or paper underneath here so that you're not going to drop the needle inside the machine, although you can access it. So that's that needle coming out. I like to put mine in here so I know that that's the needle from the thread. Even though I'm only using one needle, make sure that the other thread is completely undone and the needle is taken away. Otherwise you're just going to have perforations. And then retighten up the screw that held the needle in place. because if you leave that loose, the vibration from the machine could shake the screw out. You don't get spares of those, so that's, that can be quite difficult. Right, oh, Christine says don't be afraid of overlockers, they're really easy to use. So I'm going to thread this. This is just like threading a sewing machine. And, sorry, what did Hazel say? Should you use different needles with an overlocker? Yes, you will need overlocker needles. With the Elna, there's a little label on the front here that says only use those needles. That is really important, because if anything happens to your machine and you need to send it back to Elna, if you're not using the right needles, it will invalidate your warranty. So that's why it's written right on the front here. So if you're buying it Elna, make sure you get those needles. You should be able to get those directly from Elna. I think we don't have them in stock. But yes, that's important. You do get a packet of needles with it, and there will be needles in there as well. Right, you do have a needle threader. Even though, yes, you've got 2 needles, you do have a needle threader. And just so, just pull that through, just like on your sewing machine. Out you come. And then you're ready to go. You will have a pair of tweezers in your box, which are, come here, invaluable. Right, so you can go around to the back, just taking my threads to the back like I would with a sewing machine. And then important that you move this lever back over again. That takes away those tubes, so I can actually sew. Put the lid back on again, switch it on. And now I'll show you the difference between a rolled hem and a 3-needled hem. So again, if I was sewing with this at home, then practice first. Just make sure that everything's threaded, that the stitch length and the stitch width is exactly what I want it to be. Didn't really need a piece of fabric that long, to be honest. Get to the end, chain it off. And that's the difference there. So this one was 2 needles. This one is 3 needles. And because I've taken away the left-hand needle, it's made the hem narrower. So 4 needles, 3 needles. But now let's do a rolled hem. So there are things that you need to do. On my previous overlocker, if I was doing a rolled hem, I would have to tighten the tension, so I'd have to have a play with those, and take away the blade. No need to on this one. Around here, we have a button that says R and S. So I'm going to flick that over to R for rolled, like so. I'm not going to adjust anything else here. On the front of the machine, instead of having to tighten the tensions, there's a button here that says standard or tight. That's adjusted the tensions now so that they're tight. And then on the side of the machine here, I need to turn the dial to R for rolled. And then I can adjust, if I wanted to, the differential, the stitch length and all that kind of thing. But we'll try it like this to start with and just see what happens. So now I've still got the 3 needles in there. Let's have a look what difference it makes to the hem now. Lost my foot pedal. So you have a much shorter, narrower stitch, which is why it seems to be taking a little bit longer. But you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to come off here. There we go. So still with 3 needles. So that was my previous stitch with 3 needles. And with that just slight adjustment, I've now got this. So it's still 3 needles. Just move my hands out of the way so you can see. But it's actually literally rolled the edge of the fabric into a tube, and then the stitches are closer together, so it almost looks like the edge has been bound there. So exactly the same amount of needles, the same thread, but just adjusting that button over to R and choosing R on the stitch dial at the side. That's the difference that it can make. To be honest, my overlocker at home is left on this stitch most of the time, particularly with working with viscose fabrics or fine fabrics. It makes it easier to hem and it gives a really lovely finish. And that's the one that we use on stretch fabrics as well. If you don't want to hem, you don't need to hem stretch fabrics really, but that just gives a really nice kind of outline to it. So basically, that's about it. Now price-wise again, someone's in trouble. To be honest, it's not us, it's not our fault. We don't do prices. we are basically selling this at trade price, which is why somebody's going to be in trouble when they realise. But it's Sunday and nobody's there, so we don't care. It's not really going to stay at this price, I'm sure, when we get found out. Certainly if management are watching this morning. The price should be £979. So again, if you want to see the difference between the two, we have the Dukey at £1,025, we've got the Eleanor at £699. Have a look on the website, that'll give you the differences between the two, because all of the specs are on there, as they say, so you can have a look around the two of those as well. Oh, we've got the fabrics on there as well, so lots of stuff, lots of new stuff as well. Loads of Gutermann threads. We've got some nice gift boxes with Gutermann threads as well. And we've got bias binding too. Oh no, Morag's been busy. Christine, hinty hint, Gary. Hinty hint for Christmas coming up, Gary. If you loved your wife. Is that blackmail? Yeah, I suppose so. No, Morag's been missing most of the morning. Morag's always on call, and I hate it when she's on call because that means that somebody may be suffering. So I don't like you going to work, Morag, but we appreciate what you do. Right, well, I don't know where to start with this. Should we start with our tools? We've got two bias tape makers. It's not going to pop up underneath the video on the website. You're going to have to search for it. But if you put in bias tape maker into the search engine, it should take you there. Otherwise, your code is PRZW0S. And this is a 25mm bias maker or 1 inch. This is the one that I use most of all. I'll use this for making binding for anything from skirts to bag flaps, cushion covers, anything. If I'm making my own bias binding, this is the one that I reach for. I think it's the most popular one. It'll give you a finished binding of ½ inch, basically. So I'll show you how to use it in a bit. You're going to cut your fabric 2 inches wide, and this is a single fold bias binding maker. So not everybody wants this for quilting, I have to admit, but a single fold will basically fold your fabric like this. This is single fold, so you've got the 2 long edges of your fabric folded to the middle. So you'd think that would be a double fold because there's 2 folds, but that's a single fold bias binding, because when it wraps around the edge of your quilt, the edge of it has 1 single fold because that's 1 piece of fabric. So that's what you're going to be able to create. We've also got the ½ inch bias binding maker. So in this case, you will use a 1 inch strip of fabric. And again, that's a single fold. It'll fold both edges to the center. This is nice if you are dressmaking or if you're doing Hong Kong seams, if you're tailoring, or if you're doing any kind of Cornelli work, which is like decorative work over the top of your quilts or bags or whatever it is you're making. And again, that's £5.99. You will have to search for those, remember, they're not automatically going to pop up. MXZW06, your item number, or just put bias binding maker into the search bar and that should find you there. The coffee's going cold now. Don't want to make your own? It's nice to make your own because you can have exactly the fabric that you want. But I do use a lot of shop bought bias binding, and you can get them some really fun prints and colours now. So this is the turquoise white spot, single fold bias binding again, and that is a 1.75 inch, I think, looking at the width of that. It's not quite the 1 inch size, but a nice contrast trim. There's 2.5 meters here on total. These are pre-cut, so if you order 2, you're going to get 2 lots of 2.5 meter strips. But of course you can join it just in the same way that you would do joining fabric to make bias binding with. £1.99. See, at £1.99, you're not going to pay £3.95 postage for a £1.99 product, are you? But remember, that's only one postage for the whole day, so if you want to come back later on and order anything else, you won't be charged postage, so that makes it not quite so bad. Same deal with the pink. Again with the spots, single fold bias binding, 2.5 metres for £1.99. What are we like? What other shopping channel do you see ever selling something for £1.99? Well, you don't. So again, 2.5 metres. This is called Fuchsia for £1.99. And then, oh, hello, Graham. Morning, Graham. As I say hello to Graham, so I say hello to Graham, and that's it. We've also got base colours of 1/2 inch bias binding. So again, Hong Kong seams, tailoring, finishing off. Wouldn't use it in bag making if you're using thick fabric because this only wraps around to give you a 1/4 inch finish. So finer fabrics, finishing seams, perfect. 2.5 metres of sky is £1.49. It's sunny in Devon. We have a cream. So again, you've got 2.5 metres. You may have to search on the website again, put bias binding into the search bar. These are polycotton. Then we have canary, £1.49 again. Search on the website. And then we've got the, like a rusty red colour. So that's not scarlet, is it? It's burgundy, but we're calling it scarlet. Oh, hi Debbie. Oh, Sharon says, morning all at Sewing Street from sunny Devon. Did Elliot get his drink from the other day for fixing the problems? No, we forgot all about it, to be honest. No. We did have some problems this morning, but it was Elliot's birthday yesterday. So he's either unconscious, having a lie-in, or half naked tied to a lamppost somewhere. Don't know. If you see him, let us know. Don't know where he is. But the thing is, we had some issues going live on Facebook and YouTube this morning. No Elliot to sort it out. Didn't need him. Didn't need him. See, Elliot. Karen, oh, Graham missed. Oh, Graham. Hi, Graham. See, I'll say hi to Graham and he goes, puts the kettle on and makes a cup and missed it. He watches Sewing Street and puts it with my sewing most days. Do you know, I had, it was a few years ago, a friend of mine whose husband, she loved to sew and her husband didn't like it. I don't know why, but he said that he thought sewing was pointless and it was a waste of time. And I said, do you know, if there was no such thing as sewing, he'd be naked. You're wearing sewing, you're drawing sewing against the windows, you're sitting on sewing, you sleep on sewing. Sewing, what, is sewing a waste of time? You'd be wearing a sheet, wouldn't you? I'll get off my soapbox now and we're going to have a look at the bias binding and show you how to make it. Oh, and if you want to send a message, it's studio@sewingstreet.com if you would like to send an email. Send some pictures as well if you like, that'd be nice. Send a picture of what you're up to. Or you can come through on Facebook. Facebook is where I am this morning. So when you go to Sewing Street TV on Facebook, you will see, you'll see me. So have a look underneath there, and that's where the messages are this morning. Oh, Rita says, have we tried nail varnish remover to clean the glue off the ironing pad? No, I haven't tried anything, to be honest. But that's a good idea. I might have a go at that. Well, Elliot can do that. Well, he's out of work as far as fixing things concerned because, you know, doesn't come in because it's his birthday and we realise we don't really need him. So if you've got any ideas as to what Elliot can do as a job now, then come and let us know. So that's one job for him, so he can start cleaning. Oh, Elliot, if you're watching, I would be concerned if I was you. Right, let's do a bit of bias binding making. So in the 8 o'clock show this morning, I started making a mug rug, and it needs some binding to go around the edge. So I'm going to use the 1-inch bias binding maker, and I was going to use that one, wasn't I? So, oh, I need a sewing machine. Oh, I've got one, lovely. So well prepped, as always on a Sunday morning. Now then, bias binding. You don't always need to have bias binding. It can just be binding. Let's go back to basics. Woven fabric has 2 weaves that have a warp and a weft. So the warp goes up and down and the weft goes from left to right, so it's like that. And you'll have a little bit of movement, like with this woven fabric, maybe a little bit of give. It's more likely due to the weave of the fabric being loose than any kind of stretch, but that is a woven fabric. If you try and stretch this on the diagonal, it does actually have a stretch. So the reason being, you've got warp, you've got weft, doesn't really move. When you turn it to a 45-degree angle, you get that kind of movement, so it stretches. So if you're sewing something that has a curve, whether that's around a quilt or around a bag flap, it's important that you cut on the bias on that 45-degree angle, because then you can gently ease around the curve without your fabric puckering. If you try and do that with a straight binding, which has been cut on the weave, you're not going to be able to ease it around there. It'll gather up, it won't look very professional. If you're quilting, I mean, something like my mug rug doesn't need to be cut on the bias. I can get a nice straight line and I can get a really nice mitered point on there as well. So you can use bias binding, it doesn't have to be bias. But if you're cutting on the bias, you can use either your markings on your mat or the markings on your ruler. Let's use this big one to find the 45-degree line. So I can go straight up and down here. So again, different ways of doing this. So that's my 45-degree line. I can line this up here, and I'd normally cut longer strips than this. I'm trying to be a little bit frugal with the fabric. But then I can use the straight up and down lines. That's now cut at a 45-degree angle. Or I can use it this way, like so, and use the 45-degree line on my ruler. So that is now lined up against the edge of the fabric. Whoops, no it's not. It's lined up against the edge of the fabric. That's 45 degrees. And the edge of the ruler will now give me a 45-degree angle there. Once you've made one cut, you don't need the marks on the mat anymore. So I need 2-inch strips, so I'll cut a few. I'm not going to use that, that's just too short. Could use one this length, because I'm going to join them together. When you get to the longer pieces that are too big for your mat, then you can simply fold in half along the line that you've just cut. Make sure those are lined up perfectly. There's my 2 inches. And cut. Let's do another long one. Slightly off there. So I'm only using the marks on the ruler, not the marks on the mat at this point. So that's that. I'm still going to chop off the selvage. I'm keeping it at a 45-degree angle. And then we'll join a couple of pieces together. So let's move you down there. And just bear with me while I pick my sewing machine back up again, because I forgot earlier. So we'll plug you in there, still here. And we'll have the little line on as well. Now then, when you're joining 2 pieces, when you're joining 2 pieces together, it makes, in fact, now let's cut this at a right angle, because this may make more sense. Let's do it wrong and then we'll do it right. So I am going to do this wrong deliberately, okay? Most of the time I don't do things wrong deliberately, and just do things wrong. It would make sense, wouldn't it, to do right sides together like this, and then sew across the diagonal. We'd like a diagonal seam on the binding, because when you turn this over to the right side, a diagonal line draws the eye away, which a straight line doesn't. A straight line is going to stand out. A diagonal line, your eyes kind of glaze over it. So let's join those two pieces together, so I'm matching up the corners. Wrong, don't do this. And then let's sew straight across. You can draw a line there or crease it and fold it if you like. So you'd think that'd work, wouldn't you? But when I turn it over, I've actually got an extra little bit at the top, which isn't going to work. Let's do that again. So let's snip you off there. And then we're going to overlap it. And then sew from one diagonal to another. Did that make sense? So don't join the ends together. Just make sure you've got those diagonal bits overlapping. And then you've got the perfect straight line. So these are going to be chopped off. So let's go up there, like that, and there. And now you've got a perfect join. So then to use your bias binding maker, noisy scissors, aren't they? You can press the seam open if you want. If it was bulky fabric, then I may do that. I'm just going to go to one side with this one. Then we're going to take our bias tape maker. I'll have to join some more together to go around that thing. There you come. Right. And we're going to feed it through the top of the maker. So that's the top where it says 25 millimeters. So make it into a point if it helps. Feed the fabric through. You can see the gap in the middle there. So if your fabric isn't stiff enough to go all the way through first time, then you can take a pin or some kind of implement and feed it through the gap. That's what that's for. Now when it comes out this side, just arrange it a little bit, because what we want to happen is that both of those folds go through to the centre. All right? So then we can iron it. So I'm going to iron from the bottom side this time. Oh, I'll tell you what would be good, particularly if you've got fabric that is maybe a polycotton or a finer fabric that doesn't want to crease. Use a bit of best press on there. So then, right, let's just take the end here, and then you're going to move this over at the same time as you're just ironing. So this is folding both pieces to the centre. I'm coming up to the, just ease that in a little bit, coming up to the join there, so I may have to arrange that a little bit because it's a little bit lumpy, but that's fine. We can just help that through there and then carry on. So easy that is though. Now alternatively, so you can just go all that, you can get quite quick at this. Alternatively, what you'd be doing, and I'll do this a lot if I can't find my bias maker, would be to, that's hot, fold both pieces to the centre or together like that. Then you'd have to crease it, but I might not want to crease there. And then fold that to the middle there and then iron it. And if you've got an iron with steam, switch it off because you're going to burn yourself here. And then you'd have to go around the other side. You could have miles and miles of bias binding and match that up. And then watch your fingers. And then you don't want to be doing that. With a bias maker, you just glide along followed by your iron. And you get that perfect bias binding every time as well. So that's a little bit wet. Pauline's got an idea for Elliot's new job. He could model the makes. I think, to be honest, I've seen him wearing things like this before, but I don't think he's a sample size. But yes, that's a good idea. I'll suggest it to him. He'll be over the moon. Lisa says, please help. Oh, when using bias binding, she finds it's a struggle to join it back together again at the beginning. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do that, depending on what you're making. So, if I'm putting binding all the way around something like this, depending on how you're putting it on. Now then, what I like to do is to sew on this side, fold over and hand sew on the back. So at the beginning here, I want that to be folded, so open it up. You can fold on the diagonal if you like. So when I come back, I'm just going to chop it a bit. I hope this makes sense because I'm using tiny bits of binding. So the end's folded over, like so. I'm going to trim that just to make it nice and square, like that. So end folded over, so. And then when I come back again onto myself, that's overlapped. So then when I fold this over, I've got a diagonal seam here. Depending on the width of your binding, you can hand sew that if you wanted to, but it should be fine at that kind of size. If you are putting bias binding over and machine sewing, so in other words, you're wrapping your bias binding around the edge like so, and then sewing on the sewing machine between both layers, the fold needs to be on this end when you come back again. So that can be the raw edge, sew all the way around, and then when you come back to this side, that end needs to be folded so that, because it overlaps, excuse me, in the opposite way, so it overlaps like that. I can't remember the maths off the top of my head. It is in my quilting book, but there is a method of starting and stopping sewing your binding on at a distance. It depends on the width of your binding, so I can't remember off the top of my head, I'd have to look it up. But you can stop sewing, start sewing here, stop sewing there, and there's a way then of sewing those two pieces together on your machine, and that'll fit perfectly. But so there is a math just to make sure that it's going to fit properly. That's all, I can't remember that. But that's it. Can't think of any other way you put your bias binding on, so hopefully that's helped you. Now with the one, that's the one I use most of all, so your finished binding is 1/2 inch. So you'll have that size. So you'll cut your fabric to a 2-inch width, and then it's folded in half, so it's 1 inch wide, and then when it's folded in half again, it'll give you a 1/2 inch border. With the 1/2 inch bias binding, it's half the size, so this time you will cut your fabric to 1 inch. Sorry, I dropped my ruler on the floor. Didn't hear that go. So let's have this at 1 inch. I'm not going to open the packet because they charge me, you know, when I do things like that. I've got to pay for all this fabric at the end of the show. But this time you'll fold to the centre, fold to the centre, fold in half. You will have a 1/4 inch width on your finished binding. So that isn't something you're going to use on a quilt, but it may be something that you're going to use on seams. So if you're doing Hong Kong seams, if you're finishing seams, you know, look inside a pair of men's trousers. Oh, that sounded wrong, didn't it? A pair of men's tailored trousers, normally around the pockets and around the seams at the top, they'll have bias binding. It's called a Hong Kong seam, and it's literally binding, instead of using your overlocker or pink and shears or zigzag stitch, it's actually bias binding. It make a really nice professional finish. Unlined jackets look amazing, particularly if you use a contrasting colour of fabric, so it's a design feature. That's when I'd use something like this, so that it's just 1/2 inch wide. Or, if you're not using it as actual binding, then it's 1/2 inch wide, so you could use this for decorative purposes. You'd need to cut it as binding so that you can top stitch that onto quilts. So you can, it's called Cornelli work, so you can actually make, it's a bit like a plique, but you see things like, oh, what are they called? Those Irish knots, Staffish knots, no, I can't remember. Gaelic knots, something like that, like the shape of knots and swirls and lots of those kind of designs. But that's that right kind of width to be doing things like that. I think any narrower than your 1/2 inch binding would be quite difficult to sew because you sew down both sides of it. So that's that one, and again that is £5.99. You'll need to remember, have a look on the website to search for them because they don't automatically come up right underneath. Oh, why have I got the X Factor on? Not going on there. How did that happen? That's interesting. Oh, Gary Barlow. No, I'm on sewing. There I am. Now you know what I'm watching in between talking to you. Oh, Jane in the Netherlands used her bias binding tool for the first time yesterday. She says, OMG. She says, I was literally squeaking with joy. Now going to, oh, where have you gone? Now going to look inside my husband's trousers. I'm not being responsible for anything that happens after this, Jane. Celtic knits. Yes, that's the kind of thing, isn't it? No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, sure, I didn't mean to say that. Not while they're wearing them, obviously. Well, it depends how accommodating they are. Elliot is taking a bit of a bashing today, isn't he? It's good fun though, isn't it? Hong Kong bind. Oh, I've explained that one, Dawn. I hope you saw that. Oh, I think we're up to date there, aren't we? Lovely. Okay, so those are they. How much time have we got? It's going so quickly, isn't it, this morning? Coffee's gone cold. No, so I'll leave that there. If you would like to drop us an email, if you have any questions, if you want to send any pictures, I don't want to see what's inside the men's trousers, but if you do have any pictures that you'd like to send, then it's studio@sewingstreet.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook, as you probably gathered, which is our Sewing Street TV Facebook page. Oh, and of course, we're on YouTube as well. You can send messages on YouTube. We normally get quite a lot of people watching on YouTube, actually. 218 of you there right now. It's quite nice being on platforms like that as well, because I know a lot of you aren't even in the country. Oh, Carol wants to know how much you charge for international postage. We don't at the moment. I don't think we sell internationally, I'm afraid. We'll double check, but I'm pretty sure we are UK only. How do you get better? Oh, Alison, I can't remember without doing the maths. I'd have to refer. But yes, you can do that. Buy me book. It's all in my book. I'm sure there will be something on YouTube to explain. We've got loads of Gutermann thread. Oh, look at this. Now, if anybody's stuck for something to buy me for Christmas. I'll be in it in a minute. Honestly, I'll be in it in a minute. I may not be in it in a minute. Oh, right, sorry, there's some behind me, Liam. I've got scissors. Of course, these are paper scissors. Let's open this up. I'll have to buy this as well now, won't I? But look at what we got. So I love these tins, they're so useful. And look in here, we've got a whole kaleidoscope of colours of Gutermann thread. Oh, how many have we got there all together? I didn't count, did I? There are 48 in total for £59.99. What's that each? So it's £1 something, isn't it? Wow. Again, for Gutermann thread, I would pay £3 for each one of those. These work out at £1.25 with a free tin. My word. You've got your basics. You've got your blacks and your whites and your greys and your beiges and your browns, which you're going to use most of all. The thing that I love about sets like this is that you don't have to make do. So if I want to sew my buyer's binding on and I don't have exactly the right colour, yeah, that's close, that'll do. Because I'm not going to rush out and buy another reel of thread because I want to get sewing now, so you make do with what you've got. When you've got all of these colours, it's more likely that you think, oh, I've got exactly the right colour there. That matches perfectly. Now that'll do. And what about things like this? I want that colour red. Well, that'll do. So it's just a way, oh, I can have fun here. Yellows, sky blues, ivory, dark red. It's just nice to have the right colour without having to compromise with a thread that doesn't quite match. And of course it's all Gutermann threads, full size reels as well. So this isn't something that, you know, when you get it home it's going to be the size of your thumb. And it's 100% polyester. The nice thing about polyester threads these days is that they're matte, so they look like cotton. So there's no reason why you couldn't use this with cotton fabric. I know with a lot of you, if you're quilting, you're very particular about your threads, and if you're sewing with cotton, you want to use cotton. But polyester thread is stronger than cotton in general. So if you're dressmaking, if you're bag making, if you want a really nice strong seam, then polyester is going to be the way to go. Also, if you're sewing with stretch fabric, it's recommended that you use polyester because it has that little bit more strength in it. But it's just got a really nice finish. Polyester isn't what it used to be, is it? It's not all shiny and plasticky and stuff. So again, £59.99 is your price there. So I don't mind opening that and being charged for it, to be honest. So I think that's such great value. If that's a little bit out of your range, we have the 31. Better not open this because I'm broke now. So different picture on the tin on the front. It is a tin inside there. And then you've got 30 threads in there for £39.99. Still works out about the same, doesn't it? Really not very expensive is what it works out at. £39.99 is your price for those. So let's have nice storage. Storage is important, isn't it? And I think so. Keeps you organised. I've got 8 thread ones as well. Ooh. In 3 colour options here. So these are your brights. Still in a little tin, which I think is lovely. These have all got different pictures on them as well, so you could have a whole collection of tins. This is £16.99, and you've got the colours that you have there, look. So really lovely, bright colours. 100% polyester again, and just really nice, fun colours. £16.99, those are the brights. Oh, Carol was asking about international shipping. Now then, if you go to our website on sewingstreet.com and go all the way down to the bottom and go to services and then go to delivery, well, there you go. I didn't know we shipped to so many places. I thought we were UK only. £6.02p to the States, or £13.60 premium. That's cheap. I was quoted £10.20 to the States, £7.50 for the States. I've been quoted £36 to the, to Australia, £8.69 to New Zealand. Wow. Those are, I don't know who's doing it. I think somebody's going to be rowing a boat across the Pacific to get those to you at that price. How do they do that? Well, there you go. So those are the brides. These are the pastels. So again, you can see you've got a different image on the tin. That's a nice touch, I think. So with the pastels, we've got the pale pinks, lilacs, blues, greens, lemons, again for £16.99. Then you've got your classics. So these are probably your most used ones. School uniform colours, I think these are. So you've got your navy and reds and browns and beige and black and white. For £16.99. Oh, Donna's got herself a booster. I had to get a booster to get free view. It cost me £75, worth every penny. Lindsay says, what's the best thing you've made? Oh, I don't know. My kids. That was diplomatic, wasn't it? Yeah, Kim's watching. So I should say my daughter. They all call themselves my favourite child, if they only knew. We have overlocker thread for you as well. Oh, Pauline wants bigger reels of thread. We'll have to have a word. These are big. These are overlocker threads. 200 metres of each of this one of your basic colours. So 4 threads for a 4 thread overlocker. We have the black, we have the grey, out you come. We've got a pale grey, we have a white an off-white and an ivory, so 4 spools of each of those. You can use regular thread in your overlocker. You'll be spending an awful lot of money because your overlocker is going to use a lot of thread. So this is finer. You get more of it, and it's £74.99 for all of those. 28,800 metres in total. Liam counted all of those before we came to wear this morning. Oh, thanks Dawn for the measuring. You can make your threads go a little bit further if you just use 3 threads. I tend to use 3 threads most of the time unless I'm sewing heavier fabrics when a stronger seam's needed. So you can get away with just using 3. And you've got nice basic colours here as well. Overlock thread, unless it's a feature, unless it's a design feature like the rolled hem that I showed you earlier on, you're probably not going to see it. So it's nice to have the neutral colours there as well. Hi Friar, beginner, total beginner, what material should I use to make a snood? I'd use a stretch jersey. Or a fleece would be nice and soft, so something that's nice and gentle next to your skin. Kim is a spitting image of you. Do you know people say that? We can't see it. She's a lot younger, well, she's 30 years younger than me. We have been mistaken for each other before now, which I'm sure she didn't appreciate. But we can't see it. We don't think we look alike at all, but there we go. Anyway, we're chatting. I'm going to get in trouble in a minute. It's supposed to be selling you stuff. We're going to take a quick break. Faye's going to be back again in the next hour. So Kim, if you are watching, I'll buy you one of those patterns if you like for that blouse. We're going to be making blouses and we're going to be making trousers. So do stay with us. We'll see you again in a few minutes. Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw from Sewing Street, and these are my 5 top tips for successful sewing. So number 1, always use a good quality thread. A good quality thread will keep your seams stronger and also help to prevent lint building up inside your sewing machine. Tip number 2, if your project isn't going quite according to plan, put it down, walk away from it, come back again the next day and you'll probably find that things don't seem half as bad as they did. My tip number 3, never throw away your sewing machine manual, always keep it to hand because you're going to find hints and tips, techniques and troubleshooting in that manual. You'll miss it if you lose it. My tip number 4 is to read your pattern instructions before you even cut out your fabric. Different manufacturers of patterns will give you different instructions, different ways of constructing your garments and different seam allowances. So to have a successful garment, you need to follow the instructions precisely. And then tip number 5 is don't give up. Every professional sewer sewed their first seam. Every professional quilter quilted their first quilt. Every professional quilter sewed their first line of wonky stitches and had to get out the quick and pick. That's no different to you. So I hope you find these useful. If you want more hints and tips, then why not go to Sewing Street on channel 74 on Freeview, on Sky 670, and of course we have a YouTube channel where you can catch up on previous demonstrations. We'll see you soon. Did you know that if you shop with Sewing Street, you're only going to pay 1 lot of postage all day? That's 1 payment of £3.95, no matter what you're buying. And you can check out as many times as you like without having to pay another delivery charge. So shop online at www.sewingstreet.com, or you can order via our call centre, which is 0800 001 4433.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great.
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
And it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and gemporia.com.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
If you love sewing, then you need the UK's favourite sewing magazine. Every month, you'll receive exclusive patterns. Follow simple step-by-step guides suitable for all skill levels to make your own stunning clothes, accessories and more, together with inspiring tips and tricks from industry experts. Join in and discover your love for sewing. Try Love Sewing today and get your first 3 issues for just £6.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page. Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Hello there, welcome back again. Now, as promised, we're going to be doing a little bit more dressmaking in this show.
Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw from Sewing
So if
Street,
you've got
and
any
these are my
questions
5
for
top
Faye,
tips.
come and let us know. And if you've got any pictures that you'd like to share with us of your dressmaking work, we'd love to see that as well. We have 2 patterns for you, and Faye's is going to go over but we're not going to make a complete outfit in an hour, but she'll go over the basics of each one of these. The top, I think, is going to be incredibly popular. As soon as I saw this, I thought, that's my daughter. She loves that kind of style. It's so much on trend. It's so comfy, so easy to make, and it looks so pretty as well. And true to form, she messaged in saying, love that top. Now for £10.50, you've got different styles on here as well. So you can have elastic around the sleeves, you could have them just loose, you can have ruffles around the sleeves, you can have a tie at the neckline or the notched neckline. So it's more than just one pattern, if you like. Now the large 2 XXL, I'll just give you the measurements quickly, will be, look in the right place, Deborah. On your bust size, I'll do you in inches, will be 29.5 to 30.5. Oh no, that's extra small, so we're large. The large is 30 to 30, that's the waist. The large is 38 to 40. And the XXL is 46 to 48 inches. So your size will take you between 38 and 48 inches on the bust. But look at the style. It's not fitted, so you could probably be a little bit, it's probably very forgiving if you're a different size. So that is £10.50. And we have pull-on pants. Tell they're American, can't you? And these again are, well, shorter legs or the longer leg, but comfortable, stylish, the kind of things that you can wear out or the kind of things that you can just lounge around the house in. Sizes 6 to 16 on this one, very quickly. Can't see. Where's the sizes on that? I'll have a look on the instructions in a bit and let you know. But between sizes 6 to 16, we've got that elasticated waist again, so they're not particularly fitted. So again, very forgiving kind of pattern. And that is £7.99. We've put together some fabric for you as well. Right, so let's start with something that you might like to make the trousers out of. So this is the Oxford Navy. This is a viscose, so it's got a really lovely float to it. Remember, these are elasticated trousers, so you don't want a fabric that's going to be too thick because they'll stick out. There's 2 meters here. It's a really lovely, fluid, soft, cool fabric. I love working with viscose. I love wearing viscose. It has a lovely drape to it, and it's breathable. And this is lovely quality as well. Well, how many stickers do we need on it? And it's not see-through. So although it's fine and it's got a lovely drape, you're not going to see your underwear through it. £30.99 is for 2 meters of that. Or the fabric that Faye used to make her sample trousers up is this one. This is like tropical, but for the winter, isn't it? So we've got wonderful, simple palm leaves, but on the dark blue background. And again, it's viscose. It's a little bit heavier than the Oxford Blue, but it's a really nice, again, drapey, fluid fabric to work with and to wear. So 2 meters in length, and these will be 140 wide for £30.99 for that one. Then we put together some fabrics for the top as well. So this is the blush pink that the top behind Faye has been made out of. Again, we're talking about viscose, but very pretty, very flattering, very soft. Matches my nail varnish perfectly. You will have to search for these on the website, so they don't automatically appear underneath the video. So if you take notice of this code here, which is ZDXC86, if you can't write that down, just think blush pink viscose. Put that into the search bar and it'll take you straight there. And then finally, how elegant is this? Peacock Regala. Look at those. I think you can make the trousers as well as the top. I wouldn't wear the two together. You can overdose on peacocks. That is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Indian peacocks. You know, it takes them 3 years to grow that tail. I used to breed peacocks. No, there you go. You didn't know that, did you? Oh, yes. £46.99 is your price for that. And again, there is 3 meters there. Now, for the trousers, and maybe for the sleeves, but the trousers certainly are going to need some elastic. So we've put some together for you. There's a shortage of elastic at the moment, isn't it? Mind you, wouldn't use this to make masks with. So this is 40 millimeters wide, which I think is a little bit less than 2 inches. Maybe is that 1 inch and 75? An inch and 3/4 wide for £1.99. Peacocks can fly like birds, and they're very difficult to be able to grip hold of them and trim their wings down to stop them flying. I used to get them flying over the neighbours' houses. I'd invariably have a phone call from somebody in the village saying there's a peacock on top of my garage, so I'd have to go and net it. And they're not that noisy. Anyway, we have slightly narrower elastic, so this could be for around the sleeves of the top, if that's what you're going to, if that's the style that you wanted to. So that one is £1.99. That's not 20 meters. I'm not being accused of using the elastic. That's certainly not 20 meters. We're not going to charge you £1.99 for that, okay? You will get more than that, I'm sure. Better double check that one, hadn't I? We'll check that one for you. Because if that's £1.99, then don't buy it. Okay, so over to Faye. So we're going to start with the top.
Yeah, we're going to make the top
Okay.
to start with. A lovely pink top that I made, which is gorgeous. It's a very nice make that, we're using that fabric.
Nice, isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, so the main thing I'm going to focus on is just the slit down the middle, because I want to show you a little bit of a technique to do that, to do it nicely so it turns through nicely. And also because it's got a facing on the front and back as well.
Right.
So I'm going to show you how to attach the facing and then how then we slip down and neatly make that slit down the front. Okay. So I've just got the front and back pieces in front of me. I'm just going to show you the pattern as well, because they're both cotton fold, the front and the back piece. I just wanted to draw attention to the front where the slit is going to go. So I don't know if we can zoom in slightly on the centre front edge here. So it's got a stitching line here. You can just see it starts maybe a centimetre or so in there from the centre front and then tapers right onto the edge there to the dot there. So what the pattern and the instructions will tell you to do is basically when we stitch the facing in, we'll then pivot at the circle here and stitch right down to this other circle here. Okay. What I found is that if we do that, it might make it, when we then slash it, it then might make it a bit weak at that point.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to stitch slightly beyond or further in, maybe just a couple of stitches away from that circle, pivot, stitch across and then back up. Okay. Because what I found is that if it comes in that narrow as it's wanting us to do, as we cut down, we basically won't have any seam allowance left and
Right.
it may make a hole. So it's just something to be wary of, but I'll show you a little technique of how to do that. Yeah, so that's the main thing I want to show you on this pattern. So what we need to do first is make up our main fabric piece and our facing piece on the front and back. So the first thing to do is to attach our pieces at the shoulders. So I've got my front piece here and a back piece. So really straightforward. All we're going to do, we've got notches, so we can match the notches up. And it's just going to be really straightforward, straight stitch just across all the shoulder seams. So a nice easy start to this one. Be interesting if someone's making this and they haven't worked with facings before as well. So
yes,
it's a nice little project for you to do. And the reason for the facing is just to give it that extra bit of structure, because that V wouldn't hold very nice if it was just a simple single layer of fabric. And we'll just pin the other piece. And what I've already done, I've actually already pre-marked my lines. I followed the line as on the pattern, but when I get to that point at the bottom, I'm not actually going to go to that point. Here, I'm going to stop, I'm going to stitch slightly outside it, stitch a couple of stitches across and then back up. Okay. So yeah, really important to transfer all your marks on for this one, particularly for the slash at the front.
Fabric wise, it does say suggested fabrics could be gauze, dobby, voile, crepe de chine. We've chosen viscose. I love to wear viscose. It kind of spills off the table sometimes though, doesn't it?
It has a mind of its own, but
Yeah.
but when you've made the garment, because sometimes it can be a little, like I say, it does spill off, yeah, it has a mind of its own, but when you've made the garment, it just looks so nice and
Yeah.
it just hangs so lovely.
I think particularly when you've got gathers like this, because if you made that from cotton, you'd look like you're a ballerina.
Yeah.
So it's nice that it has that fluidity.
Yeah, and with the blue that I'm going to demonstrate next with the trouser, it's really stunning, really like silky, soft and draped, really lovely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take these over to the machine now. So it's just the shoulder seams to start with. So I'm on about 2.5, 3 here. 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. Just turn my pedal around and here we go. So yep, start with the back tack. Speed my machine up a little bit.
Oh, Sharon says, when you're sewing with viscose, what stitch would you recommend? Does it fray badly? She says, I've never sewn with it before, but I've purchased them to make
It's a good
baggy
point.
harem trousers.
Yeah, good point. This one doesn't fray, but incidentally, the blue one I'm going to work with does.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So I'll probably recommend using your pink and shears on it. And I would do that sooner rather than later, because for the demo, I haven't touched the seam allowances, but it's already starting to fray. So yeah, I would recommend do it sooner rather than later if you've got a fabric that is prone to fraying.
And would you use a shorter stitch?
It just depends really how it drapes, and it doesn't really. I don't think it really matters. It depends on what you're doing, because if you're doing some gathers with it, it will probably gather quite nicely when you're using a longer stitch. So just a medium, yeah, just standard stitch. Okay. So that's one shoulder done. Again, I need to remember to not stitch over my pins. I do have a big habit of doing that.
I never do. I know I've seen people.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah,
people demonstrating
accidents,
on
yeah.
TV where they sew over pins, and it just
Yeah.
it worries me.
Mm-hmm. I know someone who stitched through their thumb before.
Ooh.
I wasn't there actually, but they did get taken to A&E, obviously. But
that's actually quite
that
difficult.
was on an industrial.
I was. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've never done that. I have managed to stitch through the edge of my finger, but not through the finger. Yeah.
Was it a fancy stitch?
Yeah. Proper hazardous sewing.
No, I've never sewn myself.
Yeah.
I've given myself a nasty bash with the needle clamp before now. When you can get something.
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're getting close to something, yeah, it's another hazard. But the thing is, the best way to get accurate as a sewer is to get as close as possible, because that's where all your control comes from.
Yes.
So you kind of have to build that confidence up to get close to the needle. So just last shoulder seam here.
I've not tried it, but I've heard that spray starching can help maybe make the viscose a little bit stiffer if you find it too soft to work with. I've done that with stretch fabric before. I haven't used it on viscose.
Okay, so we've got our main piece and our facing piece. I'm just going to press them shoulder seams open.
Oh, are they the same?
Pressing mat.
Oh, I did that
Pressing
the other
mat.
day.
I got told off by John a few weeks ago. Put the pressing mat down.
No, I did that all by myself. I did quite a lot of lining on that mat actually, so that's something else they're going to charge me for. I know that's going to happen. So the facing is the same size as the...
Yeah, precisely the same.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
so it's like a full lining actually, isn't it?
Yeah, so exactly the same way, yeah. So yeah, the next stage will be pinning it all together and making sure that it's all pinned correctly, but it is just a mirror image, so it's not too difficult to line up.
Right. Are you a pre-wash your fabric or don't normally bother?
In costume, pre-wash, personally, no. I had to wash it, it was, that was one of my main jobs when I was there. I was kind of like just in as an advanced trainee at the time. And so you get all them sort of jobs, which is fine, they're still important jobs, even though they're not the most exciting. And I spent about 3 days pre-washing all this, I can't remember what type of fabric it was now. And the dye, I had to wash it, the dye was coming out, I had to wash it separate, I think about 3 times I had to wash it because the dye was coming out. And then I had to iron it all and then put it back on a roll. So yeah, that was a bit of fun.
So how does it work actually? If you're making an authentic costume, where do you get fabric from?
They use sometimes they used furnishing fabrics.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yes, of course.
back then the fabrics obviously were natural, and they couldn't necessarily they'd be quite thick, and you know, and a lot of the products were actually made from furnishing fabrics. So
right.
yeah, and also as well, if it was particularly Outlander, because it was 18th century, lots of skirts were very, very heavily pleated, so they needed to be sturdy and thick to hold them really defined pleats in them. Yeah. But oh yeah, they got the source fabrics from all over the place. Yeah. Right, so we then need to lay our pieces on top of each other. So it's right side on right side. And I'm going to match up where, to start with, I'm going to match up the shoulder seams and start to pin them together.
You do get people that not try and catch you out, but are very happy to point out that something isn't of the period or something. I didn't point it out to them, but I did feel very smug watching Poirot once, which is supposed to be 1930s. Yeah. I thought, I've got those coffee cups, they're from Habitat.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I think there was a famous picture going around on social media about Game of Thrones where they'd left some cans of whatever on the table. And it's like, why would you even put them there in the first place? Yeah. It's like, and I saw another image, it was a costume mistake. One of the characters still had his watch on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, oh, that's a boo-boo by the costume department. But also, it's down to the actors as well, I suppose, not being careful, because they probably will have been told, and then they probably should know better, really. But yeah, ultimately that's costume responsibility. But it does happen. Yeah.
Apparently, ball director saying in Gladiators there was a plane at one point.
Oh, okay.
Not something you can prevent happening, really, is it? Can you?
Yeah, they are funny.
Or there was, didn't they used to put sawdust on roads when you were shooting films from dramas from those kind of eras where there were no yellow lines just to cover it?
Oh, okay, yeah. I know I very, very briefly had a day on shooting for Victoria.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, very briefly. And it was...
Oh, did you get the sack?
Well, it was the only I was on as a daily. They're called dailies. So if if it's a big, if it was a big filming day and lots of extras, they need more people to come in and help. Okay. And I wasn't that.
You weren't ordered.
I wasn't that bad. And it was from the first series where the dance scene where Albert and Victoria first danced together. And
I saw that. I saw that programme.
And the set was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, but so we were on the set and they were filming that main scene, and the floor was so slippy, everyone was slipping over, so they had to go out and buy loads and loads of hairspray, and we had to go around spraying the shoes of all the dancers and everybody because they kept slipping on the floor.
Wow.
Yeah, and the whole place as well, because again, to make it authentic, it was all candlelight. So they had to constantly have a man stood there with a fire extinguisher. His job all day was to stand there with a fire extinguisher because it was a fire hazard.
There's a job for Elliot. We can have him standing in the corner of the studio with the fire extinguisher, just in case.
Yeah, they went through so many candles. It must have been.
Oh, that must have been a nightmare for continuity, though.
Yeah.
Because you imagine, again, the candles are going to burn down quite quickly, and the amount of times you need to shoot a scene.
Yeah.
People take pictures all the time, don't
they?
Oh,
yeah, constantly. Yeah, that's one of the main jobs of costume continuity. You've got to take photos of everybody at the end of every scene and things like that. So, yeah, so it's quite complicated. You don't realise until you do it. You don't realise how much is involved when you're actually physically on the set. It's very different to actually physically making the clothes. Yeah.
So how much kind of lead time would you get to make costumes for something like that? Is it months or years or
probably just
weeks?
A couple of weeks maybe. It just depends on the schedule and how many staff you've got. Sometimes if you've not got enough cutters, you might need to hire in another cutter.
That's a job, just a cutter?
Well, pattern cut, basically they're responsible for making the whole thing, so they draft the pattern.
Oh, right.
And then we'll maybe make the toile, if there's time to make a toile, and then fit it on the actor, and then make it for most of the time there wouldn't be time to make a toile, so we just had to, basically if it was one of the main characters would have their measurements, and we'd have a mannequin set up and padded out just for their measurements, so they didn't have to continually come back to be measured and fitted all the time. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure for cutters to get it done, a lot of responsibility. Yeah. Right, so I've got all that pinned. Actually, I need to carry on pinning because we need to make sure, because it's a facing, make sure that our sides actually match as well, because we're going to stitch down the front. If I just turn that over, you can see it there. I need to make sure that these are pinned together correctly so that it doesn't move around when I'm stitching my line down here. Okay. So I will just continue.
Sharon's off to buy pinking shears. Just answering a question. Angie stitched through a fingertip. Oh, Glenys is having a lovely morning. Glad you're having a lovely morning. She says it's so relaxing, loving the chit chat, and Susan's having a nice time as well. I want to know if you're all in bed still. There were so many of you in bed in the 8 o'clock show this morning. Just wondered if that's where you spend your Sunday. Do what you like. Maybe that's where you spend your Sunday mornings.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly do these side seams.
Okay.
And it does have notches as well, so just match your notches up.
We've got about 25 minutes left on the show, just to let you know.
Right. Well, what I might do, instead of sewing the entire thing, I will just focus on the front and that the bit that we need to snip, and then I can move on to the garment.
This is such lovely fabric. There's so much, I mean, it's accurate as well, which is nice, but there's so much detail with the flowers and everything on here. That would be nice in a furnishing type of fabric, that kind of print, wouldn't it? Be lovely.
Yeah. So I've just realised I've put my pins on the wrong side, so
Oh,
I'm going
no.
to have to turn it over. So I need to be very careful. So if we just focus on the centre front there and what I'm about to do. So I've drawn a line in where the stitch line is supposed to be according to the pattern.
Right.
And here's the point that I have to stitch down to here. So I'm coming from here down to here. Now, if you look at it very closely, you might not be able to see it, but obviously when you come down to a point like that, to a sharp V, and you're going to have to snip into that, you're going to snip into your threads, and and the fabric's going to frayed, and there's going to be a hole basically. So what I would recommend is just stitching just slightly outside of that point, so maybe just a millimetre or two, just so you've got enough space to actually snip it and turn it through. Because if you either stop before you get there because you're worried about it fraying, when you try and turn it through, it won't turn through properly because you've got to snip it right to that point. So you'll end up with loads of puckering and tucking. So I'll probably start from around out here, because ideally what you need to do is stitch all the way around. So I'll just start from this point here, and I'll come to this point, and then I need to pivot on that point there and come down to about here, 1 or 2 stitches across the bottom, and then back up and then pivot there again. Okay, so I'll just take it to the machine now, just quickly.
Could you make the slit shorter if you wanted to?
Potentially.
It looks a little bit low for me.
Yeah, so if you want to, if it's a little bit too revealing, there's no reason why you couldn't. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I'm just going to stitch a small proportion of the neck, actually. I will go around the other way because I'm just making it hard for myself doing it that way. This is what you need to think ahead when you're doing these things.
Yeah. And it doesn't help when you're on live TV and we're having a chat as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Sylvia wasn't in bed, but she's still in her PJs, but she is washed and dressed. Had a late night, early morning. There's his sewing bags for Christmas present. Oh, a machine went wrong. Oh no. But she can sort it out. Loving the show. Thank you. Oh, now then. Lakbir. Is that how you pronounce your name? Sorry if I got it wrong. Hello from Kenya. Hello to you. Be about the same time in Kenya as it is here, isn't it? What we are at about 20. I say about because my watch is wrong. About 25 to 12. What time is it in Kenya? What's your weather like? I'd love to go to Kenya. Oh, did your costume design take you on many travels?
Not internationally, but around the UK. Yeah, I've worked. One of the first jobs I worked on was down in Wales. A studio there. I was working on a show called Da Vinci's Demons.
Don't know that one.
Yeah, it was on one of the Freeview channels, I think. I think it was the third series, and then it stopped after that. So yeah, that was nice. And the designer on that was actually the designer for Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Take that arm off.
So you think about, when you say costume design, I automatically think period costumes. Yeah. I was judging Dressmaker of the Year last year, and I can't remember his name, I'm afraid, but one of the judges was a costume designer for Doctor Who. Have you ever worked on anything like that? Anything sci-fi? Or
not sgetting that would be
fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be fun, yeah.
At least you wouldn't get anybody correcting you.
I'm getting myself into a right muddle
here. What are you doing?
Oh, there we go. Right. It's a good job it's not live.
Yeah, we can edit all this out later. It's fine. We'll be fine.
Right, so I've stitched a little bit around the neck, and now I'm pivoting on that circle at the top of the neck, and I'm stitching down to that point, but I'm going to stitch just slightly away from it, and then just do a couple of stitches across. And again, at that point, like I did before with the dart, it might be that you want to make your stitch a bit smaller when you get to that point as well. And then I'm going to pivot, and by hand, if I just make my stitch a little smaller, I'm just going to do 2 little stitches, and I'm going to stitch back up.
Do you think a pattern fabric would be easier to sew for a beginner sewer? Because you don't see seams and mistakes quite so much, do you, on a pattern fabric?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, if it's a busier fabric, then yeah, it would be better. I know I was when I was prepping for the trousers that I'm about to do, I noticed it has a very small weave, so when I was pressing the seam at one of the legs, you can't even see the seam, which is quite interesting. So it's almost like if you did go wrong on that fabric, it would be pretty invisible. Yeah. Right. So I've just done a little bit further around that neckline.
Oh, look, Lakbir has messaged back saying they're 2 hours ahead. This is in Kenya. 2 hours ahead in summer and 3 in winter. Lovely weather here all year round, nothing extreme. Would you like to come down and visit Kenya? Introduce you to our quilted embroidery guilds. Well, I'll have to think about that, won't I? Got Liam and Paul, they've gone now, they're packing the bags. Is that okay? We'll have a coach load.
So now I'm going to, moment of truth, I'm going to snip that. So we need to snip it all the way down. So if I'd have gone right to that point, I would have inevitably either snipped through the thread, or I'd have had no fabric left at the seam to be able to turn it through.
Right.
So let's just, right, this is where I get in a muddle again because it's all pinned. I have to take all the pins out.
Then normally you'd have sewn the neckline as well. Just making it a bit quicker for you.
Yeah.
So we've got trousers to look at in a minute.
Yeah. God, I put so many pins in here. So then we end up with a really nice point.
There you go.
There we go, that's better. So you actually end up with a really nice point, and it's not going to come away because I've left that little bit more of a gap than it suggests in the pattern.
Yeah.
It's just those little techniques that just make that little different, because if a beginner came to that and did it, they maybe wouldn't know what to do. They'll turn it through and think, well, that looks wrong, and then you'd get really frustrated and think, oh, I don't know how to do this, but
yes,
I can show you little techniques like that which make all the difference. Yeah, yes, so that is probably the better way to do a V like that. Yeah, so don't go all the way to the bottom. Just leave yourself a little bit of space either side, and then you can snip it and turn it through, and you'll have a much better result.
Fabulous. Okay.
So that is the top.
So again, that's from the pattern. We've put the fabric bundles together for you, but if you just want to go for the pattern on its own, then do feel free. So there you go. It's that's the McCall's pattern. They're the biggest pattern company in the world. It's £10.50, and size-wise, again, just quickly, we've got the the large to double XL. So that will be, I'm looking on the wrong bit again. On the large is bust 38-40, and it goes up to 48 inches on the double XL. So you've got a wide range, but again, it's loose fitting. And another one of those garments that doesn't have closures, put it over your head. And different styles that you can do it with the shapes of the sleeves as well. I suppose you could make it longer as well. You could make it into like a proper tunic shape, couldn't you? So, okay, on to trousers now.
Trousers, okay. So these are, like we were discussing before, if you've not made trousers before, you want an easy one to start with, you could start with these. These do have pockets in them, but you don't have to put them in if you don't want to, if you're not confident enough.
Okay.
And
we've got about 15 minutes,
right,
by the way, just
okay.
to, yeah.
So one thing to point out first is which is the front and which is the back. And I was getting a bit confused backstage. I'm thinking, which is which? Because I'm using a fabric that's the same both sides. It's hard to tell. So I put, physically I've written a big B, so I know that that's the back, and the other one I put an F for front. But the easy way to tell visually is the difference between this part here on the front and the back. So you can see there how different it is. The main thing to remember is that your back is always bigger than your front.
Right.
Okay, so that's the main thing to remember. Right, so first things first, so I've got my pocket pieces, which look like that. So they've got a notch here and a notch here. Okay.
So they're just inseam pockets, aren't they?
Inseam pockets, yeah.
Okay.
So the first step is to attach a pocket piece to the back and the front. So remember, notch on top of notch. I'll just pin that in.
This is a nice technique to learn as well if you haven't fitted pockets before, because for a lot of garments that you're making that don't have pockets, this is the style of pocket that you can add, isn't it?
I mean, you can add it to pretty much anything. All you need to do is leave a gap, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it is probably the easiest type of pocket to add into a garment, because it's just in the seam. Yeah. So we've pinned that onto the back.
I like a pocket. Whatever I like too. I like pockets in dresses and long skirts with nice deep pockets.
Yeah. It just feels a bit, because it's practical, isn't it? And it's, I think when sewing gets really interesting, or for some people difficult, is when you're making something that's functional.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's when people start to get a bit scared, and it can be a bit frustrating because it's like inserting a zip. That's functional, or a pocket, or a welt pocket, or a jetted pocket. And you need to know a little bit more technique, I suppose, to do them sort of things. But it is kind of the next step on your sewing journey, I suppose, and I've used the word journey. in learning how to sew. So these just get stitched down just right to the edge there. You can barely even see where it's sitting there. It blends in so well. It's such a lovely fine woven fabric. It drapes so lovely. And this one as well, I would say it does fray, but don't let that put you off because it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's really, really lovely fabric.
The private jet that we were going to hire to go to Kenya, we need a jumbo because Leslie wants to come for a start. So we're going to have quite a few passengers, I think, if you can organise that. Is the runway being built at the moment? I know we've got the helipad. Yeah, I think, yeah, runway's being built. About a month, okay, we'll look at that.
So I'm just going to stitch these down. So remember, we're stitching one to the front piece and one to the back. So the pockets.
Is that why Elliot's not in today? Is tarmac in the runway? Oh, okay.
And I'm actually going to leave the same thread on because you'll be able to see it a bit better because it is a dark fabric, this one. So you'll be able to see, if I do go wrong, you'll be able to see it, which is always nice.
It's nice to find a fabric that's as fine as this is, that isn't see-through.
Yes, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I stitched the seam of them trousers and I was pressing, I thought, I can't even see where the seam is. Honestly, it's so fine, such a lovely woven piece of fabric. Really good quality.
So what are you working on at the moment? Well, not the trousers, obviously. Away from here, what are you working on?
I'm actually trying to develop my own patterns now.
Lovely.
So, yeah, I'm just at the early stages of that. So I need to source somebody who can grade the patterns for me, really. So it's one thing I don't do is pattern grading. It's a specialist.
That's somebody's job, though, isn't it? That's what you do. So where'd you start? Do you actually draw? Would you draw like a form and then clothes on it and then go from there to how you'd actually design it? Or I've never done anything to do with pattern making before.
Well, yeah, you'd start. Well, it depends how you like to work. You can either start with like a pattern block or a pattern that you already have, or you can work off your mannequin. It just depends on how you like to work. That's one thing I'm quite keen to teach people, is that I think some people, patterns can be a bit scary because it can get a bit technical, or it seems to be a bit technical.
Do you use software to design then?
I can, well, I can use things like Photoshop and Illustrator, so if I'm designing and I need to put together a portfolio, so I can do things like that, but I can't do pattern grading or anything like that, so that technical side I can't do. But in terms of patterning, I mean, there's lots of different ways you can learn how to pattern. Like I say, it's either you can do by paper and take a pattern from a garment that's an existing garment. I've done that before. You can do it by plotting things out of a book. You can take a pattern from a mannequin, so you just drape your fabric on the mannequin and the lines that you form will become your pattern. So it'd be nice to demo it.
Yes.
To show people what I mean. Right. So I've got them pockets stitched on both sides now.
Teddy sent hi Teddy, how are you? Sent in a picture because we're asking about different types. Oh, look at this! Pure linen amateur, but I find cotton damask meant for curtains and upholstery works well. That's what I use for the doublet in this Elizabethan costume.
Oh, fantastic!
That's amazing.
That's called what are they called? It's a doublet, and they are pumpkin breeches.
Oh yeah,
that's what they're called.
Why.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
fabulous!
Thanks, Teddy.
Really good, excellent. Yeah, pumpkin breeches.
That was for was it a costume convention in San Jose?
Wow.
Very nice.
Excellent. I'm very impressed.
It said it was far too hot.
Yeah, especially wearing that, yeah. Yeah, they developed, I think, because initially, before they wore breeches like that, that's why they wore cod pieces, because they didn't have breeches that had like a gusset in them, so the cod piece was to cover up.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I just thought that was
then
it
became
male display kind of.
It did become
thing.
that in the end. Yeah, it did turn into that. But yeah, it stemmed from them not having been covered up because they didn't have, you know.
Wow, I didn't know that. So, Paul, is that why you wear a codpiece? Because you don't have a gusset in your trousers? Apparently. So, yeah.
So what I'm doing now, I'm pinning the side seams together. Now, when we stitch these, what the pattern will ask you to do, I'll explain, is we stitch. So I've got a notch here, you probably won't be able to see it, but we stitch down to this notch here, and we stitch from this notch all the way down the trouser leg. This part here will be the pocket opening, but to start with, you want to baste it closed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So initially, I'm just going to stitch those bits closed, the top bit there, and further down the trouser leg, and then I will baste the opening. If you're feeling confident, you don't have to baste, but it may move around a bit because we do have to do some top stitching as well after this.
We are kind of running out of time. We've been talking too much, haven't we? We've got about 5 minutes,
all right.
Faye, that's all, sorry.
I'll do it very quickly.
Quite a few of us going to Kenya now, apparently. Lackbeer wants to meet everyone in person. Might be easier if you came here, to be honest.
Right. To save a bit of time, I won't stitch all the way down the leg. And I won't baste that opening, just so I can quickly show you what the next step is. So pretend we've basted that. So notch there, this bit should be basted. So the next step, what it asks you to do is open it out. And there we have the pocket. So that should be your opening. Then what we have to do is fold these open, and as I say, these should be basted, and that should be closed. So we've got a little gap there for the hand.
Okay.
And we then top stitch, is that my front? No, that's the back. We then have to top stitch part of the front. This is just to give it a bit of extra strength. So we're going to top stitch from here down to here. So ideally, yeah, that will be shut, or give it a press. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going through the piece underneath as well. So when I take it to the machine, I'll start here, and I'll stitch out about ½ centimetre that way. And then I'll pivot and stitch down here, then pivot again and go back across. Okay. This is where it gets a little bit fiddly.
When are you back here again, do you know?
October 15th, I think. I think it's a Thursday.
Do you know what you're doing yet?
No. So yeah, nice surprise. Yep, so come out about about 1/2 centimetre there, and then I'll pivot. And remember, we're just going through the front section, so make sure your seams for the back are nicely out the way. And then just straight down to my other notch.
So you normally use the same colour, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This isn't the kind of top stitching that's going to be a feature,
Well,
is it?
to be honest though, it looks quite nice.
It does actually,
Yeah,
with that, doesn't it?
looks a nice...
Have to be
nice
confident in sewing in a straight
Yeah.
line then.
Right, there we go. Yeah, it will show up if I've gone wrong. Yeah, so you can see it there.
That does actually look nice, doesn't it,
Yeah.
the contrast?
Yeah. So yeah, you only do that on the front piece of the front section of the pocket,
Okay.
just to add a bit of strength on that.
Right here.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect timing. We're just about out of time. I've had a really nice morning.
Yeah, it's
Thank
been lovely,
you.
hasn't it? Yeah, it's nice to meet you because we haven't met
Thank
before, have
you.
we? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really
Yeah.
interesting as
Yeah.
well. So we'll see you again on the 15th.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's give you a reminder of what Faye was actually using in the show. That's my 4th cup of coffee gone cold. The McCall's pattern on its own is £7.99. So this is the oh no, sorry, £7.99 for the pull-on pants. And I can't find finished sizes, to be honest, but I think going by your dress size will be fine for this one because, oh, hang on a minute, no, AB, no, 23rd, 50, no, that's wrong, because it's elasticated and the loose fitting, so go by your dress size for this one. So we've got sizes 6 to 16 at £7.99, and again, you can make them shorter if you wish, and like Faye said, if you're a bit daunted by pockets, you can actually leave those out if you wanted to. We have some fabrics that we put together for these. So we have the Oxford Blue, which is the fabric that Faye was using. It's so cool, honestly, it's such a lovely quality, drapey, fluid, cool fabric. It's so nice to wear, honestly. We'll have touchy telly one day, won't we? They have suggested, I don't know if it's been worked on, that you can have a holographic TV. So you could actually have us in your living room. So it'd be scary, wouldn't it? You'd see the roller skates that we wear behind here and everything. So that's the Oxford, and then we have the palm. Isn't that so nice? I love the palms are normally kind of, you know, tropical and bright coloured kind of fabrics. I like this, having the sandy coloured for the palm and the navy in the background. £30.99 for 2 metres of those. The bundles that we put together are always enough fabric to make the largest size on the pattern. So if you're making a smaller size, you can make yourself a little top to go with it. Again, that's £30.99. Do we have to search the code for that one? That's the code up there. Not saying it just in case. Or put the name of the fabric into the search engine, and that should take you there as well. The pattern for the top, oh, I've put the wrong ones in there, that was the trousers, which is this one that we saw at the beginning of the show. It is this one, which is £10.50. They would look nice together, wouldn't they? You could maybe go for the trousers in the tropical, and then the top in the Oxford Navy. That would make a nice suit. £10.50 for the pattern. But the fabrics that we've chosen for you are the blush pink, which is the top that you saw behind Faye on our set. £46.99 is for 3 metres, and this is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? And again, it's all viscose, so it's 140 centimetres wide, and it's just a really gorgeous fabric. If you've never worn viscose before, give it a go. You'll be a viscoseaholic. And then also is the peacock, which Faye was working on earlier on. I just think it's so elegant, isn't it? There's so much colour and so much detail in this fabric. And again, it's viscose, all viscose. So £46.99 is for 3 metres. You don't have to make that particular top. You can make the trousers out of them. You can make a shirt out of it. I think it's just it's beautiful. I love the colours and everything with this one. It's gorgeous. Oh, now I've got some early birds left. I'm amazed it hasn't sold out. Here we have 10 reels of Gutterman thread and some pins and a large packet of sewing machine needles for just £17.99. Makes this thread £1.50 a reel with 3 needles and 3 pins. So you're saving £2, that's our early bird special, which means that at the end of the day today, if we do have any stock left, and I don't think we will, that price will go back up again. So take advantage. That's a nice little Christmas present for somebody who sews as well. Now tomorrow, this is what we've got coming up for you. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, we have Playful Pre-Cuts book. At 9 o'clock, Susan Briscoe is going to be here with Sashiko panels, fabulous fabrics at 10 o'clock in the morning, and Susan's back with more Sashiko at 11 o'clock, and then more fabulous fabrics is at 12 o'clock, which is a repeat of our earlier show from today. I'm going to see you on Tuesday. It's Christmas on Tuesday. Oh, I've got a really lovely fabric panel, and then some oh, I can't remember the artist's name. Some fabrics of, you know, that were like watercolours of cows and animals and birds and things like that, but they look like they've been splattered with paint. I can't remember the artist, but it's that kind of look. We've got some really lovely fabric, and Alice and Marion's going to be in as well, so we're going to have a nice day, and we're live for 5 hours. Yeah, which is brilliant. We shall look forward to that. So, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your Monday. I shall see you on Tuesday morning. Thank you for being part of our show today. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.